Neon lights snake like blood veins among high-rise buildings in the city, and the air is filled with the pungent smell of industrial waste, faintly mixed with the sourness of metal corrosion. In the distance, the secret jingling sect's ancestral hall is hidden deep underground in a camouflaged environmentally friendly building on the edge of the city. The spiritual veins are twisted like poisonous snakes, and the surrounding spiritual energy is polluted into a black mist. The cultivators are struggling to survive, and breaking through the realm is like walking against the sky. Black market immortal cultivators and secular plutocrats have already caught wind of this, coveting the pure spirit beads that can purify all things, and countless hidden sects have been wiped out. Luoli clenched her silver teeth, the spiritual energy in her body rushed like wild waves, and her internal organs seemed to be pierced by thousands of needles. The inheritance ceremony of the pure spirit pearl was originally the highest secret method of the sect, and it required a natural pure spirit constitution to withstand it. But now, the spiritual veins were polluted like maggots on the tarsal bones. Every time she took a breath, she felt that her lungs were rotting. "Why? Is it so painful?" she murmured. Her master's desperate look before his death appeared in front of her eyes. The sect had withered away, and she and her senior sister were left alone to cling to it. The secular Chabel's helicopter had circled outside the mountain gate, and the ambitious laughter of Han Xiao from the black market echoed in her mind. "Pure Lingzhu, it belongs to me." In the Patriarch Hall, the faint blue candlelight flickered, reflecting Luo Li's beautiful face as pale as paper. She knelt in front of the golden statue of her ancestor, her slender body wrapped in a plain white robe, her long hair falling like a waterfall, but it was soaked with sweat and stuck to her skin. The pure spirit bead was suspended in the palm of her hand. The body of the bead was pulsating like a living thing, emitting pure white light, but it was trembling under the erosion of the black mist around her. "Junior sister, hold on." Shang Yan's voice came from outside the palace, mixed with the sound of swords and the smell of blood. She frowned and the sword in her hand was dripping with blood. She had just killed several probing spies. At the moment of despair, a trace of white light bloomed between Luo Li's brows, and the jingling pearl suddenly erupted. Pure spiritual power poured out like the Milky Way, washing through her meridians. The black mist emitted a sizzling corrosive sound in the white light, and evaporated instantly. Her skin glowed with a jade-colored luster, her cultivation surged from foundation establishment to golden core, and her aura swept through the Patriarch Hall like a tornado. Shang Yan's beautiful eyes widened, and the long sword in her hand fell to the ground with a clang. Her voice trembled. Junior sister? You succeeded?" This spiritual pressure actually purified the entire hall. The tip of her nose smelled the long-lost fresh floral fragrance in the air, and all the filth around her was eliminated. The sword's intention faintly broke through the bottleneck, and ecstasy and worship burst out in her eyes. The air in the hall was stagnant, the candlelight suddenly went out, and black mist surged in like a tide, engulfing Luo Li. Shang Yan's heart was like a knife, and the tip of her sword trembled. "Junior sister, you can't fall. The sect depends on you." Powerlessness flashed in her eyes. The sect had been hidden for hundreds of years, but was exposed due to the revival of spiritual energy. Han Xiao had joined forces with the plutocrats. The sound of tank tracks could be heard faintly from the ground, and the roar shook the stone wall of the ancestral hall. Luo Li slowly opened her eyes. The white light in her eyes was like stars. When she stood up, her robe was hunting, and her aura was like that of an immortal descending from the dust. "Senior sister, the artifact has been melted. I feel the supreme power, which can filter global pollution." The pure spirit bead in her palm disappeared, and the spiritual power in her body surged like a river. With a gentle wave, the black spots on the surrounding stone walls peeled off, revealing the crystalline spiritual veins. Shang Yan knelt down, her voice choked with sobs. "Junior sister, you are the light of the jingling sect. How dare those ants covet you?" Before the joy could last, the Patriarch Hall suddenly trembled. The ritual spiritual wave leaked out, soaring into the sky, tearing apart the camouflage building, and the red alarm sounded harshly. There was an explosion from the ground, and the black market immortal cultivators broke in. The leader smiled ferociously. "Lord Han Xiao has ordered, hand over the pure spirit pearl." Their spiritual power was twisted, Green light flashed in their eyes, and the power of pollution turned into black claws and rushed at them. Sheng Yan's sword light burst out, like a silver dragon rising out of the sea. It killed 3 people with a clang clang clang. Blood splattered, and the air was filled with the smell of rust. One of the black market monks stared wide-eyed and his throat rattled. The sword! How can the sword's intention be so pure? Impossible. He fell to the ground and twitched, and his spiritual power exploded back into his body. Luo Li's eyes turned cold. She raised her hand like a wave of white light, purifying the black claws. The enemy's skin cracked as he screamed, my spiritual power is melting." They retreated one after another, their faces turned pale, and fear appeared in their eyes for the first time. This woman has merged with a divine weapon? Senior sister, let's go. Luo Li pulled Sheng Yan up, and the 2 of them turned into streams of light and rushed out of the ancestral hall. Behind him, tank fire roared, Chable mercenaries fired machine guns, and bullets rained down, shattering stone pillars. Sheng Yan's sword net opened, clanking to block the rain of bullets, and she shouted angrily, "These mortal ants dare to get their hands on the immortal weapon!" She slashed the tank barrel with one sword, and the explosion burst into flames. The soldiers screamed and ran away. Monsters! They are monsters! On the way to escape, the divine weapon in Luo Li's body pulsated, and the power of the pure spirit began to operate automatically. All the pollution in his body was cleansed, and his cultivation soared to the edge of the nascent soul. She took a gentle breath of the night air, and the black mist under the neon light automatically dissipated 3 feet around her, and her skin was as crystal clear as mutton fat jade. Sheng Yan looked sideways, her voice trembling with enthusiasm. "Junior sister, look! Even the smog in the city is receding. You are truly the chosen one." The beggar on the roadside raised his head and widened his cloudy eyes. "Oh my God, why is this fog so fresh? That beauty is glowing all over." The jade slip suddenly lit up, and the secret message of the sect emerged. Han Xiao teamed up with the president of the Chable to lead hundreds of immortal cultivators and armored vehicles to surround the mountain gate. In the picture, the mountain gate was in flames and the elder screamed, "Han Xiao, you traitor!" Han Xiao laughed wildly. "Jingling sect, destroy the sect today. The artifact belongs to me." Luo Li's jade face was frosty. "He must die." The 2 of them passed by the edge of the city, surrounded by tall buildings and luxury cars. After a series of fierce battles, Luo Li's strength was exhausted, and the initial melting of the artifact burned her back like fire. She staggered and finally fell down in front of a splendid high-end hotel. On the white marble steps, her long hair was messy, her robe was stained with blood, and her breath was weak. Sheng Yan was wounded by the sword, but she managed to protect her and shouted, "Junior sister, hold on, I'll go find the elixir." The hotel security guard rushed out with his suit straight and his nostrils turned upward. He caught a glimpse of the 2 people's embarrassed appearance and frowned in disgust. "Where are these beggars? Get out of here. This is the Regal Hotel. How dare a crazy woman from the slums dirty the facade?" He pushed Sheng Yan roughly, his eyes filled with tears. It was contempt. "You are still injured? You are a homeless person? If you don't leave, call the police to catch you and throw you into the garbage." The guests around looked on and pointed. "Look, it's so embarrassing, it must have been a fight in the nightclub. Security, get rid of it, it affects the appearance of the city." Sheng Yan was about to draw out her sword, but was stopped by Luo Li. Seeing this, the security guard became even more arrogant, breathing heavily, and called the intercom. "Manager, come quickly. The 2 crazy women at the door are so dirty, we have to get rid of them." He leaned over and stared at Luo Li fiercely. "Girl, why are you pretending to be a fairy? Get up and get out, or I will throw you into the sewer myself." Luo Li slowly raised her eyes, white light flashed in her eyes, and there seemed to be a hint of floral fragrance in the air. The security guard was frightened, but he held on to his anger. "Why are you staring?" From a distance, the manager walked quickly in a suit and leather shoes, his face ashen. "Who dares to cause trouble in front of the Grand Gate? Give me." "The word count is about 1650. The manager's words stopped abruptly. His oily face twisted into a ball under the neon lights. His nostrils flared, and he exhaled the hot smell of alcohol, mixed with the smell of perfume wafting from the hotel lobby. Drag them out. These two women who look like beggars, with dirty blood stains all over their bodies, are a disgrace to Imperial City. As he waved his hand, the gold watch on the cuffs of his suit flashed, and the security guards swarmed up. Their leather boots made a muffled dong-dong sound when they stepped on the marble steps, and their rude arms rushed towards Luo Li and Shang Yan. Shang Yan bit her silver teeth secretly. Her sword finger trembled slightly. Blood seeped out of her robe from the injured shoulder, dyeing the white marble red. She whispered to Luo Li, "Junior sister, I can't bear it anymore. Let me strike with the sword." Luo Li raised her hand to stop her. A sneer appeared on her pale jade face, and the white light in her eyes shone like stars. The pure spirit beads in her body were pulsing, and the backlash of exhaustion was like fire burning through her meridians. However, she suppressed the pain and secretly channeled her divine power, and white mist silently poured out from her palms, quietly seeping into the air around the hotel. The pungent neon haze was originally the black ash condensed by urban industrial waste gas. In an instant, like the blazing sun, it made a subtle sizzling corrosion sound and turned into a fresh floral fragrance that filled the air. More and more guests gathered around, with brand-name bags swaying and bubbles popping in champagne glasses. They were whispering, and their voices were like a tide of ridicule. "Look at these two dressed in rags like they crawled out of the garbage heap. They are probably here to touch porcelain. When did Grand fall? Are you going to let such a person dirty your appearance? Manager, call the police, it's embarrassing." A smeared lady covered her nose and backed away, her eyes full of contempt. The air was filled with the rich scent of roses, but it couldn't suppress the faint smell of blood and rust all over Luo Li. Just when the electric baton was about to touch the center of Luo Li's eyebrows, she slowly raised her eyes. Her cold and beautiful face shone like an ice sculpture, and a faint glow appeared between her eyebrows. The white light spread like ripples on water, and the blue arc on the electric baton froze instantly, then shattered into powder with a pop sound. The strong security guard's arm froze in midair as if struck by lightning. His eyes widened and his pupils shrank suddenly. He felt that the toxins from tobacco and alcohol accumulated in his body for many years were like thousands of ants gnawing at his bones. The black air was churning under his skin, which was then washed away by the white light, making a gurgling, swallowing sound. What is this? His throat was rolling, sweat was pouring down his face, and the tip of his nose smelled the freshest fragrance of grass and trees that he had never experienced before. The dirt in his lungs was removed, and his whole body felt as light as if he had been reborn. The eyes of the surrounding guests turned from ridicule to confusion. The champagne glass in the lady's hand fell to the ground with a crisp crackling sound. She rubbed her eyes and murmured, "The fog. Why is the haze gone? The air smells so good." In the glass window of the hotel lobby, the originally gray air under the chandelier seemed to be pushed away by an invisible hand, revealing with the crystalline spiritual veins disappearing. The waiters stopped and their noses twitched. "Where does this floral fragrance come from? Is the air conditioner in the lobby broken?" The manager's cell phone slipped down and hit the ground with a snap. His face turned pale, and he stared at the black mist that automatically dissipated 3 feet around Luo Li. His voice trembled. "You? What kind of monsters are you?" The security guards rushed closer, and the leader, the strong man with his nostrils pointing upward, reached out to grab Luo Li's shoulder first, saying obscene words. "You little bitch, are you pretending to be dead? I'll serve you with the electric baton." The electric baton on his waist popped out, and the blue arc flashed wildly, and the pungent smell of ozone hit his face. The guests shouted excitedly, "Shock him! Let her know that Dorset is not a good place." The manager grinned and dialed the phone. "Hey, are you the police? 2 crazy women are making trouble in front of Dorset Hotel. Come here quickly." When Shang Yan saw this, her sword intent surged, and her injured body soared into the air like a silver dragon. She stepped forward, and the sword energy was suppressed invisibly. The manager screamed, "Ah!" His knees went weak and he knelt down. His suit pants were soaked, and the smell of urine filled the air. His teeth chattered and he looked at the faint sword light in Shang Yan's hand, and his face was as pale as paper. Sword energy. Are you immortal cultivators?" Shang Yan snorted coldly, The tip of the sword touched the center of his eyebrows, and the coldness pierced like an ice needle. Waste, stop talking. The top suite is provided for free, or I will seal it with a sword. The manager was sweating and breathing heavily, and he kowtowed. Yes. Fairies, please come upstairs. Luoli stood up, wearing long robes and looking down at the ants. She waved her jade hand lightly, and the white light swept over the body of the strong security guard. He knelt down with a thump, his hands trembling and cupping his fists, and fanatical admiration burst out in his eyes. Fairy, thank you for purifying my dirty body. I feel reborn. From now on I, Li Dainu, swear to be loyal to you to death. His nosebleed was mixed with tears, and he kowtowed like pounding garlic. The dong-dong sound shook the stairs. The other security guards' eyes widened, and the impurities in their bodies were also affected. They knelt down one after another and their voices choked. We were wrong. Please forgive me, Fairy. The top-level suites are magnificent, with crystal chandeliers shining bright starlight, and the city's neon lights rushing like a river of blood outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. Luoli sat down cross-legged, with the pure spirit pearl pulsing in her body, repairing the backlash injury. She pressed her jade hand on the wound on Sheng Yan's shoulder, and the white light seeped in, and the flesh and blood healed sizzlingly. Sheng Yan's beautiful eyes were moist and her voice was trembling. Junior sister, your divine power. Even my sword wounds were healed instantly. Those mortal ants dared to humiliate us just now, and now they are kneeling down to beg for mercy. It is so satisfying. The tip of her nose smelled that the air in the room was as fresh as a mountain forest, and the bottleneck of swordsmanship for many years was faintly loosened. The guests gasped and the lady's legs became weak, muttering, Immortal cultivators? Do they really exist in the city? That white light just now. The rheumatism pain in my body disappeared. Their eyes changed from confusion to fear and admiration, and they stepped back one after another to get out of the way. Luoli glanced at them. Mortal dignitaries were like dust in her eyes. She pulled Sheng Yan up and stepped into the hotel lobby. The fragrance of flowers filled the air. The waiters knelt down to greet them. Fairy, please. Luoli taught the pure spirit art, and the mantra sounded like a sound from the sky. Keep the pure spirit in your heart, follow the white light of the sword, the pollution will dissipate, and the sword will sublimate. Sheng Yan sat cross-legged and moved. The sword energy and the pure spirit power in her body merged, and the sword was unsheathed with a buzz sound. She opened her eyes and stood up, slashing out with her sword. The black fog in the void in front of the floor-to-ceiling window disappeared, and the sword's intention penetrated the golden elixir. Sheng Yan's beautiful eyes widened and her voice choked with sobs. Junior sister, with this pure spirit technique, my swordsmanship has actually jumped to one level. From now on, even if Han Shao comes in person, he will be killed like a dog. It was dark at night, and in the hotel surveillance room, the screen flashed with strange phenomena. White light spread at the door, black mist evaporated, and the fragrance of flowers filled the lobby. The attendant's eyes widened and his phone trembled as he dialed the Chable hotline. President! Something big happened at the Dihao Hotel. 2 women. They purified the smog, and the security managers all knelt down. The surveillance showed that the white light was like a miracle, and they were definitely the remnants of the Jingling sect. In the picture, Luo Li's cold figure was clearly visible. On the other end of the phone, the Chable president's voice was gloomy. Lock the location and notify Han Shao. The artifact cannot fall into her hands. Deploy armored vehicles and seal off the hotel. In the suite, Luo Li and Sheng Yan were in the middle of regulating their breathing, when suddenly they heard a loud bang and the door was kicked open. A young man wearing a black jacket broke in, with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, holding a tablet computer, and the wave map on the screen was beating wildly. He stared at Luo Li and said in a quick but firm voice, I have been tracking the fluctuations of the Jingling bead for 3 days. Are you the descendants of the Jingling sect? I am Yi Chun, an urban technological genius. This artifact requires the fusion of immortal science to purify the world. Han Shao, you have been locked, cooperate or die. Sheng Yan drew her sword like a dragon, pointing the cold light at his throat. Boy, are you looking for death? Luo Li raised his hand to stop and looked around, smelling the faint technological aura on his body. Tell me, Luoli nodded, closed her eyes and sensed. Her consciousness spread like a tide. The city's spiritual veins twisted like a poisonous dragon entrenched, and the source of the black mist pointed directly at an underground black market not far away. Senior Sister Han Zhao's men have infiltrated this place. The source of the pollution is in the nearby black market. They are refining industrial poison elixirs to hinder us cultivators. She opened her eyes with murderous intent flashing in her eyes. Destroy them when I recover. Sheng Yan held the sword, her eyes wildly. Yes, Junior Sister. You are the master of the Jingling sect. Yi Chun took a deep breath, and the tablet projected a 3D map of the city's spiritual veins, with the source of the black fog pulsing. I have a Shenka device that can upgrade the purification beads and filter industrial poison sources, but it needs your help. Han Zhao's tank has approached the hotel. A decision will be made within 10 seconds. Outside the window, an engine roared in the distance. The light of the armored vehicle pierced the night, and the soldiers roared. Located on target, fire. Luo Li's jade face was frosty, white light erupted from her body, and the fragrance of flowers bloomed in the room. She whispered, cooperate. But if there is any disagreement, die. Yi Chen's eyes flashed with ecstasy. Deal. Look at me, dash. The explosion shook the building, bullets rained down, and the glass shattered and splashed everywhere. Yi Chen's face was livid, and his tablet beeped urgently. He rushed forward, pushed Luo Li and Sheng Yan down behind the carpet, and said in a hoarse voice, Tank main gun. Hit within 3 seconds, get down. Sheng Yanjian's eyebrows stood up, and her long sword was unsheathed with a buzzing sound. The white light of the sword was circling like a silver dragon, trying to block the rain of bullets, but the bullet hit the sword net with a clang, causing her jaw to crack and blood dripping on the ground. She gritted her teeth and said, Junior Sister, how dare these mortal ants attack someone just because they have an iron shell? Let me kill them out. Luo Li's eyes were as bright as frost, and the pure spirit pearls in her body backfired with pain like thousands of needles piercing her heart. The greasy manager, with a wrinkled suit on his face, greed and malice in his eyes, his nostrils flaring, spitting out the stench of tobacco and alcohol. Ha ha! Fairy, get out of here now. Mr. Zhao the Chable personally ordered that the room cost 1 billion, and spit out all the artifacts you have. Otherwise, tanks will destroy this building and you will be wiped out. Behind the manager were a dozen Chable boys, all with blonde hair and tattoos, and modified pistols bulging around their waists. They gathered around with grim smiles, their leather boots thumping on the carpet, and the air was filled with the smell of gun oil and inferior cigarettes. A yellow-haired boy spat and pointed his gun directly at Luo Li's pale face. Why are you pretending to be cold? Just purifying the smog was nothing. Now Mr. Zhao's armored vehicle is outside, and Mr. Han's golden elixir master will be here at any time. You hidden scum. Kneel down and lick your shoes, maybe there is still a way to survive. The guests screamed and fled from downstairs, and the elevator dinged. The police sirens were approaching in the distance, but the plutocratic forces had already bought everything, and they laughed like a wave. Look at their wretched appearance, stained with blood like dogs. Jingling sect? You have never heard of it. The city is now a world of technology and money. The manager made a phone call with a sinister smile. Mr. Zhao, catch them alive. If you get the artifact, Mr. Han's reward will be doubled. Glass shards poured down like a torrential rain, tearing through the night sky with a clanging sound, bullets clanging against the metal guardrails, and the smell of gunpowder mixed with the smell of burnt plastic instantly filled the suite. The floor-to-ceiling windows exploded into cobwebs, and the cold wind mixed with neon light poured in, making the crystal chandelier jingle and tremble wildly. The muzzle of the armored vehicle downstairs flashed with red light, and the soldiers wore night vision goggles and roared, Fire! The heir to the artifact is on the top floor. Capture him alive and present it to Mr. Han. The engine roared like a wild beast, the black holes spouted flames from the muzzles, and the walls exploded with cement chips, and dust hit their nostrils. Luo Li stood up slowly, wearing a long robe, bloodshot eyes spilled from the corners of her lips. White light flashed in her eyes, the pure spirit beads in her body were moving like volcanoes, and the pain made her almost faint. Sheng Yan's heart was as sharp as a knife, and her sword energy protected her body. Junior Sister, don't move, I'll kill these dogs. Yichun hit his knees with his tablet, and despair flashed in his eyes. The fluctuations of the Jingling bead are too strong, exposed. I originally wanted to cooperate, but now. The Chable boys burst into laughter. Huang Mao pulled the trigger. Bang bang gunshots were heard, and the warheads whizzed into the face. The manager was the first to bear the brunt. His greasy face instantly distorted, and the smoke and poison accumulated in his body for many years burned like fire. Black air bubbled up from under his skin, and he spat out a mouthful of black blood. His knees hit the ground with a thump, and his suit pants were wet with urine. The irritation was strong. My cultivation, the peak of foundation building, has regressed. I have become a mortal. He widened his turbid eyes, his pupils shrank suddenly. He felt as if his meridians were being purified by fire, and the spiritual energy in his dantian collapsed. He was rolling on the ground in pain and his voice was hoarse. Immortal Lord, please forgive me. I don't want the artifact anymore. The room fee is free, and the whole hotel is yours. The Chable boys' guns froze in the air, and the warheads turned into powder in the white light. The low-level cultivation skills hidden in their bodies were like snow meeting the sun, and they all screamed. Kneeling down, yellow hair spurted nosebleeds, and the gun fell to the ground with a snap. Monster! My gold coin spiritual root is broken. Please accept me as a slave. Their eyes changed from greed to fear and fanaticism, and they kowtowed dong-dong like pounding garlic, and their foreheads were stained with blood. Li Daniu, the security guard downstairs, rushed up after hearing the news, leading a group of brothers. They had been purified just now and were already loyal. At this moment the white light came again, and the potential in his body exploded. Li Daniu knelt down with a bang, with tears streaming down his face. Master! Brother! Li Daniu, I will follow you to the death. Luo Li glanced at him, tapped his jade finger, and transmitted the secret message. Pure spirit instruction, condensing qi and building the foundation. The mantra was like the sound of nature going straight into his sea of consciousness, and Li Daniu's whole body was shocked, and he felt the limit of a mortal within his body. The ground shattered, and spiritual energy surged like a river. His nose twitched as he smelled the source of the flower's fragrance. His skin glowed, and his eyes burst into light. Breaking through, the master's power was established overnight, and the disciples will never forget it. His security guard's eyes widened and he knelt down in envy. First disciple Li Daniu, when will we have to pass it on? Luo Li snorted coldly. Loyal protectors will have opportunities. They kowtowed in ecstasy and their voices shook the floor. Follow the master's decree. Outside the armored convoy, the soldiers' gun barrels melted and ticked into molten iron. The black mist in the tank barrel evaporated, and the engine stalled. Ahem. Mr. Zhao jumped out of the command vehicle. His suit was messy, and the golden elixir of hidden cultivation in his body had just begun to form. At this moment his spiritual power retreated to the foundation. His legs became weak and he knelt down, looking at the source of the white light on the top floor. His face was as pale as paper. The pure spirit field. The pollution sources in the whole city were instantly cleared. My elixir. The business is ruined, Mr. Han, spare your life. The soldiers threw their guns and knelt down, worshipping in their eyes. Immortal Lord! We were wrong, the tank belongs to you. The hotel guests and waiters crawled out of their hiding places, and the lady rubbed her eyes and murmured. The rheumatism is gone, the heart disease is cured. She is a living god. They all worshipped. Jingling Immortal Lord. Shang Yan's sword energy converged, her beautiful eyes widened, and her voice trembled. Junior sister in this area. The whole hotel's spiritual veins are reborn, and my sword intention has been raised to another level. Yi Chen's tablet computer buzzed wildly, and the golden light of the spiritual veins shone on the 3D map. He swallowed his saliva with ecstasy in his eyes. The purification range has been expanded to 100 miles. But it's not enough, I'll do it. He rushed to Luo Li, took out the silver nanometer instrument from his backpack, and entered the code with flying fingers. The instrument hissed and sprayed out blue light nanometer mist, directly into Luo Li's eyebrows. Xinka fusion nano filter injection. Luo Li felt the pulsation of the artifact accelerate. The white light and blue light intertwined and exploded, The purification range increased tenfold, and the source of the black fog on the edge of the city trembled faintly. She opened her eyes with blue and white lights flashing in her eyes. Effective. Global pollution can be eliminated. Yi Chen's sweat rolled down his forehead, and his voice trembled with excitement. The initial fusion was successful. My technology plus your magical weapon. We are invincible. Just when the rain of bullets was about to begin, Luo Li's jade hand suddenly opened, her cold and beautiful face appeared like an immortal, and the pure pearl between her brows buzzed with boundless white light. Pure spirit realm open. She shouted like thunder from the sky, and the white light rippled across the entire venue instantly, erupting from the suite, running through the hotel lobby, and heading straight towards the armored convoy outside the building. There was a loud sizzling corrosion sound in the air. The urban black smog, like sulfuric acid, evaporated crazily into green smoke and turned into a rich floral fragrance. Under the neon lights around the hotel, the black and gray pollution sources were like squirming insects and disappeared in an instant. The three of them joined forces. Luo Li led the white light pouring. Yi Chanan assisted, and Shang Yan's sword energy protected the law. The underground spiritual veins of the hotel bounce and awaken. The black twisting poisonous dragon turns into a golden spiritual river. The sound is like thunder. The crystal chandelier buzzes in resonance, and the fragrance of flowers is as rich as the valley. The waiters' eyes widened, and the mortal bodies in their bodies were faintly awakened. The spiritual veins are alive. The emperor has become an immortal mansion. Li Dania's disciples lined up with security guards, shouting enthusiastically, "Master purifies, we protect the law." Black market spies loomed in the shadows in the distance, looking at the golden light of the hotel soaring into the sky, and smelling the threatening fragrance of flowers on the tip of his nose. He tremblingly dialed Han Zhao's hotline. "Mr. Han, the leader of the Jingling sect appears in Dihao. The domain purifies the entire area, and the spiritual veins are revived. She has merged with Xianke, and her power has skyrocketed." Shang Yan turned the tip of her sword and pressed it against the back of Yi Chen's neck. It was as cold as ice. "Boy, prove your loyalty. Otherwise, I will kill you with one sword." Yi Chen did not dodge, and projected a black market map on his tablet. "The refining point of Han Zhao's poison elixir is 3 kilometers away. I tracked you and it's no different. After fusion, let's purify the world. I have a technological breakthrough." Shang Yan sensed the pure technological aura on his body, and Jianshou snorted. "I trust you for the time being. The three of us will form an alliance to destroy Han Shao." Luo Li nodded, holding Yi Chen's tablet in his jade hand. "Let's purify the hotel's spiritual energy and accumulate strength for the war." Luo Li sensed the spy and her eyes turned cold. The remnants of the black market. She waved her jade hand lightly, and the aftermath of the domain was swept out. The spy screamed, "Ah!" The black energy disappeared and he knelt down. In the night wind, the city's neon lights were dim, and the golden spirit vein light illuminated half of the sky. The tycoon Mr. Zhao climbed up the stairs, kowtowed and presented the key. "Immortal Lord, the entire hotel industry belongs to you. The Zhao family swears allegiance." Luo Li glanced with disdain, and the ordinary dignitaries were like dust. "Go away, send a message to Han Shao, come and die quickly." Thunder rumbled in the night sky outside the window, and the black mist rolled like a poisonous python. Han Zhao's confidant, the golden elixir master, rode the mist dragon in the air. His eyes were as red as blood. He hunted in his robes, and the poisonous spirit flags in his hands buzzed and trembled. The corrosive stench went straight to the top of the hotel. More than a dozen drones behind him locked on with beeps. Red lasers fired like death sighs. Engines roared with the harsh sound of metal friction, and the air was filled with the stench of diesel and spiritual poison. "Little bitch Luo Li, Mr. Han has ordered you to hand over the artifact beads obediently. Otherwise the mist dragon will swallow the sky and your Jingling sect will be wiped out." The master roared with a ferocious smile, making the sound like thunder, causing the glass fragments to fall down and the building to tremble. The guests in the hotel lobby screamed, and Mr. Zhao turned pale. He knelt down and kowtowed. "Immortal Lord, the Han family's golden elixir cronies are here. They have joined forces with the black market. The poisonous elixir has destroyed half of my career. I can't hold on. Li Dania's head. The apprentice gritted his teeth. His foundation-building spiritual energy was beginning to sprout, and his fists clacked. Master, disciple, stop it. But before he could finish his words, the fog dragon hit the outer wall of the hotel, exploding with a boom of cement rain, poisonous mist seeping into the corridor, and the security guards coughing. She choked her nose, her skin instantly blistered and fester, and she screamed like a ghost. Poison! My spirit body melted. Shang Yin frowned, her beautiful eyes flashed with despair. Junior sister. This is the peak of the Mist Dragon Golden Pill, combined with Han Zhao's poison pill. My sword, the air pressure can't be controlled. Yi Chen's tablet beeped wildly, and the poisonous fog on the 3D picture was like a black cloud. Cold sweat poured down his forehead. The drone carries an electromagnetic pulse bomb and paralyzes the hotel's power within 3 seconds. Our technological advantage is gone. Luo Li's jade face was pale, and the pure spirit pearl in her body was eating back like thousands of insects eating her heart. She stood up with force, her robe was stained with blood, and the blue and white light in her eyes dimmed. Han Xiao, an ant also dares to offend me? The master heard this and laughed wildly. Jingling sect? The scum of the hidden sect. Mr. Han has full control of the urban spiritual veins. You can't do anything. Stay alive, kneel down and offer beads. Maybe leave the body intact. The drone swooped down, hissing and spraying the electromagnetic net. And the blue arc light jumped and hit the penthouse suite. The smell of electricity hit the nostrils, the lights flashed out. The darkness was filled with poisonous fog. Everyone's breath was stagnant, and despair surged in. Li Daniu defended Luo Li, and the spiritual shield shattered with a crack. He fell to the ground spitting blood. Master, this disciple is incompetent. Just when the electromagnetic net was about to cover, Yi Chen pounced in front of the tablet, his fingers beeping like electricity. Shinka counterattack nano bomb launch. His backpack popped open, the silver missiles hissed out, and the blue mist exploded, heading straight into the swarm of drones. The drone's engine stalled, the circuit board melted. It fell to the ground and exploded into a fireball. The fire lit up the night sky red, and the smell of burnt wires filled the air. The soldier operator's eyes widened, and the earphones stung and cut off the message. It exploded. Our imperial weapon is paralyzed. The master's face suddenly changed and the fog dragon was blocked from circling. Who is this kid? A magical weapon of science and technology? Mr. Han didn't mention this. The engine roared again outside the window, and a black shadow approached. Han Zhao's confidant, the Jindan master, came in the fog with murderous intent. Luo Li die. The explosion sounded again, and the sound of swords shook the sky. When Luo Li saw this, her heart was like a knife, and the backlash pain was overwhelming. She pressed her jade hand between her eyebrows, suppressed the pulsation of the beads, and shouted Rushuang. Pure spirit realm explode. The blue and white divine light exploded between her eyebrows, and the realm was like an invisible giant wave, sweeping out from the top and heading straight towards the master and the fog dragon. The air is sizzling and corrosive. Like the scorching sun, the poisonous mist evaporates crazily into blue smoke, and the fragrance of flowers replaces the stench. The master was the first to bear the brunt. His golden elixir spiritual power poured out like an avalanche. The poisonous elixir in his body shattered with a pop, and black energy spurted out from the 7 orifices. His bloody eyes widened, and his voice trembled like a candle in the wind. No, my golden elixir is at its peak. Pure spirit bead. The power of global purification? Mr. Han underestimated it. His knees softened, and his spiritual power retreated to the foundation. The fog dragon collapsed and he fell to the ground with a plop, smashing the marble floor, and black blood surged from his mouth. Spare your life. Li Daniu got up and saw the aftermath of the realm. The foundation-building spirit body swelled again. His nostrils twitched to smell the source of the flower fragrance, and his eyes exploded with fanaticism. Master's power. The golden elixir master knelt down, begging like a dog. Mr. Zhao and the security guards crawled out of the poisonous mist, their skin as smooth as new life. They knelt down and kowtowed, their voices choked with sobs. The immortal lord purifies the poisonous spirit, and our spiritual roots are awakened. We pledge our loyalty to the death. Sheng Yin wiped away the poisonous blood, her beautiful eyes widened, and the buzz of the sword's intention rose again. Junior sister, this field is integrated with immortal science, and the purification golden elixir is like slaughtering a dog. My sword's heart is clear. The golden light of Yi Chen's tablet shines, and the poison source is faintly marked on the 3D map. He swallows his saliva and trembles with excitement. The purification efficiency is doubled. The urban underground spiritual vein pollution source is locked. An abandoned chemical factory. 3 kilometers away. The first spiritual vein is blocked by Han Zhao's poisonous pill. Sheng Yin seized the opportunity. Her long sword buzzed loudly, and the pure spirit sword qi poured out like the Milky Way. Senior sister, I will open a way for you. She flew out of the window like lightning, her sword light slashed into the mist dragon. Clang, gold and iron clashed, the poisonous mist evaporated into black smoke, and the stench rose into the sky. Her tiger's mouth cracked again and blood dripped out. The peak of the golden elixir. Crush me. The master sneered, waved the poisonous spirit flag, and black light hit her face like a rain of arrows. Sheng Yin couldn't dodge, and was hit by an arrow in the shoulder. The poisonous blood sizzled on the rotten flesh. She fell back to the suite with a groan, her face sallow. Junior sister. It's too late. Luoli glanced at the kneeling master and snorted coldly. Tell me, where is Han Zhao's lair? The master twitched all over, lost all his spiritual power, and his voice was as hoarse as a ghost. Abandoned factory. Mr. Han refined the poisonous elixir, twisted the source of the spiritual veins, funded by the rich Han family, and the army is pressing down on the situation. Spare your life. I am willing to be a slave. Luo Liu tapped his finger, and his consciousness was shaken, and the pure spirit instruction technique was injected into him. He screamed in ecstasy. Foundation establishment is reborn. Master's grace. Everyone stared in admiration and admiration. Golden pill slaves. What can we do? The gate of the factory is rusty and open, and there are more than 100 gangsters inside, all with fierce tattoos, holding iron pipe machetes, laughing wildly around the fire, and the smell of burning barbecue mixed with blood. They were originally Han Zhao's black market thugs, guarding the poison pill refining furnace. The gulu black liquid was boiling in the furnace, and the underground spiritual veins were twisted like poisonous dragons. The bald boss at the head was holding a cigarette in his mouth and blowing out circles of smoke. Mr. Han has a generous bounty. Tonight he will refine 1,000 poison pills, and all the urban immortal cultivators will become our dogs. The younger brothers laughed ferociously and echoed. Inmen Jingling sect? I heard that the mountain gate exploded, and the women are here to have fun. Luo Li and his party sneaked into the shadows, but they stepped on the shattered glass with a click sound. The bald boss jumped up alertly. Who? The iron pipe was swung whoosh. The gangsters swarmed up. The machete flashed with cold light and roared like a wolf. Kill them and the spiritual veins will belong to Mr. Han. Sheng Yan's sword energy protected her body, but she was seriously injured. Unable to control it, Yi Chen tried to interfere. The gangsters took advantage of the large number of people and made a dong-dong sound when they hit the iron pipe. Li Daniu blocked several people after he had just finished building the foundation, but was beaten and vomited blood. Master! There are too many people. Mr. Zhao shrank back. These black market villains are raised by the Han family. We are finished. About to fall into despair, a blue and white light flashed between Luo Li's brows. Pure spirit realm spiritual vein induction. White light burst out from the ground like a tide, and went straight into the refining furnace. The black liquid evaporated, the poisonous dragon's spiritual veins awakened with a bang. Golden light soared into the sky. The steel frame of the factory creaked and twisted, and the fragrance of flowers replaced the rotten smell. The gangsters were the first to bear the brunt of the smoke and black gas in their bodies. They stared with turbid eyes. The bald boss fell to the ground and spurted black blood. His spiritual roots awakened. My mortal body. My spirit has awakened. Purification. A miracle. He knelt down with his knees plopping and kowtowed with blood on his forehead. Immortal Lord, we were wrong, Mr. Han. The poisonous elixir destroys the spiritual veins. We are the losers. begging to be accepted as outer disciples. The other gangsters felt the fragrance of flowers lingering on their noses, and the machetes fell to the ground with a bang, and they worshipped fervently. Jingling immortal Lord, the factory belongs to you, and I will protect you to the death. Their eyes turned from fierce to worship, and their voices shook the factory. The first stronghold, the outer gate of Jingling. The pure spirit beat in Luo Li's body pulsed like a tide, and the golden river of spiritual veins fed back. Her meridians popped, and the backlash disappeared, and her cultivation boomed through the edge of the Yuanying and entered the middle stage of the Yuanying. Her jade face was radiant, as cold and beautiful as a fairy. Everyone gasped. Li Dania's first disciple burst into tears. Master broke through the nascent soul. Disciples have eyes and cannot see Mount Tai. Shengyan practiced her sword intention again. Her beautiful eyes trembled. Junior sister's divine power. The first purification of spiritual veins. The sect is revitalized. Yichon threw himself at the spiritual soul. At the source of the pulse, the tablet beeped and scanned. The purity of the Jinling River is 100%. I build the Xianke laboratory. His fingers flew, the nanometer instrument hissed, unfolded. The silver platform rose. Blue light was injected into the pure spirit bead. The artifact hummed and fused to accelerate, and the talismans were generated in batches and fell to the ground. During the excitement, the jade slip on Luo Li's waist buzzed with heat, and Elder Shaoyi sent a message into the secret. Sect Master. The old man is still hiding in the world. Half of the elders of Shanmen have died. Han Xiaoyan's conglomerate Han family's army is pressing down on the border. The poison spirit army has 10,000 people, and there are hundreds of technology tanks, and they are rushing towards it. Emperor Hao. The secret method Jingling sword code is taught. Practice quickly. The golden light of the jade slip flashed into Luo Li's sea of consciousness. Her eyes turned cold, and she held the sword technique in her jade hand and taught Shengyan and Li Daniu. Take the technique. The two of them were shocked, and their sword spirits surged, and they kowtowed in ecstasy. The three of them had no time to stay. Luo Li sensed the call of the spiritual veins and was guided by the pulse of the Jinling River. She waved her robe. Let's go and purify the first spiritual vein. Shengyan helped the injured and got up. Yichon put away the instruments. Li Daniu's disciples led Mr. Zhao and the security guards. Everyone sneaked out of the back door of the hotel and rushed towards the abandoned factory in the dark night. The night wind howls, the neon lights fade away, the exhaust gas from the industrial area rises into the sky, the squeaking sound of corroded metal is endless, and the air is as sticky as ink, making you want to vomit when you smell it. Luo Li turned around and glanced at the new disciples coldly, her voice like frost and snow. You black market remnants, lackeys of the Han family, have now entered the outer gate of Jingling, loyal to protect the law, and the betrayers, the traitors are in disgrace. The bald boss led the crowd in kowtowing like thunder with bloody noses. Follow the decree of the immortal Lord. Oath. Don't rebel. Li Daniu's disciples lined up, and his voice was loud. Outer disciples guard the factory and distribute Xianke talismans. Yichon threw out hundreds of talismans, blue and white lights flashed, and the disciples put them on, their aura surged and they yelled with wide eyes. With the talisman's blessing, the foundation is invincible. The tank tracks rolled over the concrete road with a bang bang bang, shaking the factory ground like an earthquake. More than 100 black-painted tank turrets rotated and buzzed to lock the factory door. Infrared lasers fired like bloodshots, and the air was filled with the pungent stench of diesel and gunpowder. Thousands of people from the Poison Spirit Legion came from behind, all with distorted golden core foundation cultivation and full of black energy. They were holding electromagnetic rifles and poison spirit crossbows. They roared like a pack of wolves. Young maid Luo Li, the Han family has been wiped out. I present you with the pure spirit orb. The helicopter circled with a roar, and the searchlights pierced the night like sharp swords, illuminating the rust stains on the steel frame of the factory. The bald boss face turned pale, and he led his outer disciples to grasp the iron pipe of the machete. The blue light of the amulet flickered faintly, his throat rolled and his voice trembled. Immortal Lord! The Han family Chable are all dispatched, hundreds of tanks, and the immortal cultivating army has 10,000 people. Our outer disciples' 300 spiritual roots have just awakened. How can we stop it? His legs were weak and cold sweat was pouring down his forehead. Master, the poison spirit army's golden elixir is like a cloud, and my sword cannon has just been completed. I can't hold it down. Mr. Zhao and the security guards huddled behind the nano laboratory, listening to the click of the cannon being loaded, with an earthy face. It's over, the Han family has used military technology, we mortals have a new awakening, and the bullets will fly away. The Han family is a snobbish manager. A middle-aged man who is as fat as a pig jumped from the back of the tank. His suit was bulging, and his spiritual energy body was shining with golden light. He glanced at the factory with a sinister smile, his eyes locked on Luo Li and his party, and his nose twitched to smell the fragrance of flowers in the Jinling River was twisted into mockery. Ha ha ha! Luo Li? The relic of the Jingling sect? A beggar came down the mountain, wrapped in a torn robe stained with blood, and led a group of gangster security guards to occupy the refining site of my Han family's abandoned factory? Mr. Han has an order: hand over the artifact beads. Otherwise the tanks will be destroyed and the spiritual veins will be destroyed again. He pointed at the factory, his fat face trembling. Look, you scum of the hidden sect, the spiritual energy recovery city is completely controlled by the Han family. The chaebols are connected to the black market, and you are the master of immortal technology. You are like ants kneeling down and licking, maybe you will survive. The poisonous spirit army roared with laughter, the rifle was loaded with a click, the electromagnetic net was charging, and the smell of air current was tangy. The poisonous blood from Shang Yan's shoulder wound was still wet, her beautiful eyes flashed with despair, and her knuckles turned white when she clenched the sword. Junior sister, this steward is a branch of the Han family, and is protected by Jean Dan's confidant Wei. Yi Qin's tablet beeped wildly, and the 3D map was covered with red dots on the tank. His fingers were stiff. Immortal Lord, the Han family's firewall quantum level. It takes 10 seconds for my hacker to charge, and the nanoshield cannot stop it. Jean Dan's trusted servant knelt down and kowtowed, his voice hoarse and hoarse. Master, the side branches of the Han family are so ambitious, and they are unjust for their own gain. I knew the secret beforehand. Han Tai, the manager, is greedy for money and wants to take credit for his achievements. The Jinling River in the factory is surging, the nano laboratory is humming, the engines of the Han family's army are roaring and approaching at the edge of the city, the red light of the tank muzzle is flashing, and the poison spirit army is murderous. Luo Li, the Han family will kill you all. The sound of explosions is heard again, and the night sky is filled with flames. The divine light between the eyebrows exploded, and blue-white mist rushed out from the Jinling River like a tsunami, sweeping the entire place in an instant. Within a kilometer outside the factory, the fragrance of flowers replaced the stench, and the mist threads penetrated into the black energy of the poison spirit legion, and went straight into the meridians and dantian. Zizizi corrosion was rampant, the black air was boiling and evaporating. The legionnaires' eyes widened and their cloudy eyes widened. The poisonous elixir in their bodies popped to pieces, and the golden elixir's foundation-building spiritual power flowed backwards. They wow spit out black blood and bit each other. The poison is coming. Brother, your spirit body has turned black, kill. Internal strife broke out, and the electromagnetic rifle bang, shooting each other, flesh and blood flew everywhere, screaming like a ghost. My cultivation has been purified? The Han family's poison pill is harmful to people. Fog seeped into the tank cockpit, the engine stalled, the turret rotated out of control, and fireballs shot into the sky. Iron filings rained down on the ground, and the smell of burnt metal filled the air. Steward Han Tai bore the brunt of the impact. The spiritual shield of his fat body shattered with a crack, and the Han family's secret poison spirit art disintegrated in his body. His fat face was twisted, and he knelt down with a plop. His voice trembled like a broken leaf in the wind. Know the global power of the pure spirit mist? My peak foundation building. Transformed into a mortal. Luo Xianzuan, please spare my life. He crawled and kowtowed, his forehead was stained with blood, and the poison spirit soldiers around him killed each other. Corpses were scattered all over the field, and the blood stained the Jinling River red. The bald boss's eyes widened, his machete fell to the ground, and he shouted ecstatically, Immortal Master Shenwu! The enemy's army has been wiped out and 10,000 people have been reduced by half, and our outer gate is unharmed. Li Dania's first disciple sniffed the scent of flowers, his spirit body increased again, and his eyes burst into red. Master, no one is injured. Enemy. The internal strife of the Han family is like a dog biting a dog. Mr. Zhao and the security guards crawled out from the shadows, their skins glowing and their spiritual roots sprouting. They knelt down and kowtowed with choked voices. Purify the mist and become immortals. Yichan seized the opportunity, his tablet finger was beeping like electricity, and the hacker virus rushed into the Han family system like a silver snake. Xinka invasion, exposing the shady story. The factory's nano-laboratory buzzed to amplify the signal, and the neon lights on the city's big screen flashed. The Han family's polluting factory broadcast a live broadcast. The black liquid extracted from poison pills dumped the spiritual veins, and the top chaebol joked about distorting the world of immortality. The flow of passers-by and traffic came to a standstill, and the driver's eyes widened. The Han family is evil. The resurgence of the pollution spirit has prevented us mortals from having a chance to achieve immortality. The Han family's stock price plummeted, the chaebol's internal phone rang wildly, and the side forces were shaken. Shang Yan's sword heart was bright, seizing the gap in the internal strife. The long sword buzzed, and the Jingling sword code was running. Sword formation Jingling 9 palaces. Her body swept out like lightning, the sword light turned into 9 galaxies, and cut into the group of bosses. Jindan Han family's confidant Song Kong blocked the block, but the spiritual power retreated. The sword energy went straight into the heart, and puff blood exploded. Their eyes widened with blood, and their voices were intermittent with fear. The power of the sword code. Mr. Han underestimated the secret door. Their heads rolled down and hot blood sprayed sizzling and burned the steel frame. Shang Yan's mouth was bloodless. Her sword intent rose again. Her beautiful eyes trembled. Junior sister Chuan Cannon, my sword is unparalleled. Luo Li glanced at Han Tai, snorted coldly and tapped her finger. His consciousness was shocked, and the pure spirit slave seal was injected. Han family branch? Be loyal or die. Han Tai's whole body twitched, and the foundation for spiritual root rebirth was just completed. The fragrance of flowers lingered on the tip of his nose, and he knocked dong dong wildly. Immortal Lord. Han Tai, the side branch, pledges loyalty, provides the Han family with tens of billions of funds, and a technology laboratory of 10. All the city's industries are sacrificed. Mr. Han's ambition is to seize the pearl and dominate the spiritual veins. After hearing the news, the remaining soldiers knelt down and shouted, Be loyal to Jingling.
Betray Han Xia.
Luo Li waved his robe, and the blue and white amulets were distributed with a bang. Their eyes widened and they shouted, Xinka amulet, divine weapon. Luo Li turned to Shang Yan and pressed her jade hand between her eyebrows. Senior sister, the entire sword canon is passed down. Let's work together to purify the second spiritual vein. The golden light entered her brain. Shang Yan's sword body buzzed, her injuries were healed. The nascent soul sword intent first appeared, and she was beautiful. His eyes were moist and his voice was trembling with gratitude. Junior sister. The swords and hearts are one. The two of them stepped side by side on the golden spirit river. Their eyebrows united. The pure spirit mist sword domain exploded, and the white mist sword energy was like a dragon, drilling straight into the second spiritual vein underground. The black poison disintegrated with a rumbling. The golden river surged into the sky. The fragrance of flowers filled the factory. Luo Li's cultivation reached the late nascent soul stage again. Shang Yan's swordsmanship approached the golden elixir. Their jade faces were radiant, and they were peerless. Yi Qin's tablet flashed with golden light. The second spiritual vein is 100%. Urban purification is accelerated. At the time of joy, the night sky cracked open with a boom. Elder Xiao Yi's white hair was fluttering. His sword descended from the sky, and he was hunting in ancient robes. The jade slip in his hand was shining brightly. He glanced at the battlefield, frowned and sighed. Sect Master, the remnant of the old mountain gate has arrived. Han Xiao Yuaning is at his peak, grab it. The ambition of the artifact. Integrate the poisonous spirit method. Twist the spiritual veins of the world, and join forces with the chaebols to build the immortal empire. Quickly revise the first volume of the Jingling Sword Code to give guidance to you too. He waved his sleeves and the golden secret entered the sea of consciousness. Luo Li and Sheng Yan's spiritual bodies exploded, and the sword energy surged into the sky. Xiao Yi's old, turbid eyes widened, and his voice trembled. Sect Master Tianzong, the mist will purify all the armies, the artifacts and immortal sciences will be unified, and there is hope for the hidden sect to be revitalized. Luo Li nodded and ordered coldly. Han Tai, inject money and technology into the laboratory, expand the number of outsiders. Baldly Dainu, rule the city, and seize the spiritual roots of the black market casual cultivators. Han Tai knelt down and presented the black card to the ground with a bang. The funds beeped into the nanometer. The lab expanded tenfold with a buzz, and thousands of talismans were generated like rain. The bald boss led the remnants of the enemy and the awakened rogues who passed by. The number of disciples increased to more than 1,000. They wore amulets and stirred with spiritual energy. They knelt down and roared. Jingling Sect's urban helms. Immortal Lord. The Han family is in ruins. Li Daniu's disciples lined up in formation, and their voices were loud. Self-rudders are deployed and spiritual veins are protecting them. Mr. Zhao led security patrols, his face distorted with worship. Luo Li's jade face is as cold as ice, her robes are hunting, the blue and white light in her eyes is dim and suppressed. The pure spirit pearl in her body pulses like a heartbeat. The spiritual power in the middle stage of nascent soul is hidden and silent. Listening to ridicule is like wind in the ears, but her heart is still. Everyone's desperate gaze is focused on her. The steel frame of the factory was creaking and bending, and the smell of gunfire was strong and nauseating. At the moment when the tank's main gun buzzed with red light, she opened her jade lips lightly and shouted like frost and snow falling to the ground. Pure spiritual mist release. The night wind howled, the Jinling River surged, the urban neon lights gradually brightened, and the purification spread to the distance. Passers-by sniffed the fragrance of flowers and sprouted spiritual roots, worshipping and whispering. Jingling Immortal Lord came to the world. Yi Chen excitedly slapped the tablet. The branch of the Immortal Network is built. The Han family's shady story all exposed, the Chable collapses. Shang Yinjian stood by her side, her beautiful eyes firm. Junior sister with the sword cannon, I will protect you from ascending. Elder Shaoyi stroked his beard, his eyes were deep. Sect Master Han Shao is here. The true form of nascent soul's peak poison spirit is hidden behind the tank. Black clouds poured down like ink, suffocating the air beside the Jinling River. Han Zhao's demonic shadow stepped out of the air, and the virtual form of the poisonous dragon roared under his feet. His red eyes gushed out like lava, locking onto Luo Li's cold figure. The real form of the nascent soul peak poison spirit around him swelled, and the black air writhed like 10,000 pythons. The corroded steel frame sizzled and emitted white smoke. The air was instantly filled with the disgusting smell of sulfur and corpse odor. The remnants of the tanks restarted with a bang bang. The turrets buzzed and rotated, the main gun's red light was fully charged, and more than 100 elite cultivators jumped out of the black clouds like ghosts, with the golden elixir and fake elixir at the peak, wrapped in poisonous spirit armor, holding the electromagnetic poison blade Kaka. Loading the weapons, they all roared with a ferocious smile. Mr. Han's power. I offer you the beads, my spiritual veins are all poisoned. The helicopter roared and dived, and the rockets locked on the subrudder door with a whoosh, and the smell of gunpowder hit their nostrils. The bald boss's face was ashen, and he led more than 1,000 outer disciples into formation. The blue light of his amulet trembled. His throat was clunking as he swallowed, and his knuckles turned white when he held the machete. Immortal Lord. Han Shao is at the peak of his yuanying, and the poisonous spirit is invincible. There are hundreds of people in Yingjinden, and our newcomers to the Foundation are like ants. Li Dania's sword energy has just begun to condense, but his knees are weak and cold sweat is flowing down his back like a waterfall. Master, the poisonous dragon's virtual form has swept away all the troops, and I haven't finished the first volume of the Pure Spirit Sword Code yet. Can't hold it down. Mr. Zhao and the security guards huddled behind the door of the nano laboratory, listening to the buzzing of the poison blade, their faces twisted in fear. It's over, the Han family is here in person, the Chable military industry and the immortals, our mortal spiritual roots have just awakened. The poisonous gas the blood turns to pus when you smell it. Han Taishin's slave knelt down, his fat body trembling like chaff, and his voice was broken. Immortal Lord, I, a branch of the Han family, know the inside story. Han Shao combined the ancient poison method with the support of the global plutocrats, and he destroyed the branch with one finger. Shang Yan's beautiful eyes flashed with despair. The sword was clenched tightly and blood oozed from the tiger's mouth, and the old injury on her shoulder ached faintly. Junior sister, the nascent soul is at its peak. Our two swords can only save our lives. The beeping alarm on Yi Chen's tablet flashed wildly. The 3D red dots were swarming like bees, and he tapped with stiff fingers. Immortal Lord Han Zhao's quantum shield. My hacker virus cannot penetrate. The elite poison blade is nano-level, and the laboratory wall cannot block the 3 breaths. Elder Xiaoyi's white hair chaos, hunting in ancient robes, the golden light of the jade slip dimmed. He stroked his beard and his old eyes were rounded. His voice was hoarse and trembling. Sect Master, I have been hiding in the world for many years. Han Zhao's ambition is to poison the world's spiritual veins, build an empire of immortals, and unite with European and American plutocrats. City, half of our jingling sect's mountain gate has been destroyed, and there is no way for him to survive. Upon hearing this, the disciples' morale collapsed, and they knelt down and kowtowed, crying, Immortal Lord, help me. When Han Mo comes, the city will be completely destroyed. Han Shao looked down from the sky, his jackal face twisted and laughed wildly. His voice was like thunder, and the steel frame cracked and broke. Luo Li, I'm trying my best. Cleaning up the spiritual mist is just a child's play. I, Han Shao, will decide on the divine pearl. Are you a beggar who wraps up a rogue security guard and takes over the spiritual veins of an abandoned factory? The Han family's wealth controls the city, and the global alliance follows me. There are clouds of black market immortal cultivators, and you are a scum of the hidden family like dust. Kneel down and offer your beads, or the poisonous dragon will swallow your soul. With a wave of his hand, the elite golden elixir followers swooped down. The poisonous blade swooped through the air. The black air net fell like a sky curtain. The tanks bombed and the artillery fired. The rockets bang exploded the rudder wall. The flames shot up into the sky and reflected the red night sky. The gravel rained down on the ground, and the smell of scorched earth and blood hit their faces. The bald boss bore the brunt of the attack. The amulet shattered with a snap. He spurted blood and flew backwards. His eyes widened in despair. The immortal lord can't stop him. Before he finished speaking, the black clouds in the distance came over him. A poisonous dragon roared, and Han Zhao's figure came like a demon through the air. His red eyes locked on Luo Li, and he laughed wildly and shattered the steel frame. Luo Li, in the first trial, I will take the divine pearl, and the city's spiritual veins will be completely poisoned. The remaining tanks restarted, and the artillery fire boomed again. The fire in the night sky illuminated his ferocious jackal face, and the crisis was like a mountain. The nano laboratory buzzed wildly, the golden light of Yi Chen's tablet surged, the pure spirit pearl and the Shenka nano core clicked together. The artifact upgraded like a starburst. The blue and white field instantly expanded to a radius of 10 miles, like a tsunami and white mist wrapping the sword energy galaxy. The fragrance of flowers replaced the corpse odor like a tide. The air in the field sizzled and purified. The virtual dragon's virtual phase distorted and evaporated with a roar, and the black air threads collapsed. The elite golden elixir party members were the first to bear the brunt. The poison spirit armor shattered with a pop, and the fake elixir in the body flowed backwards. They stared with blood-red eyes and twitched and knelt down. Their realm plummeted and the foundation was just completed. Black blood spurted out like a dog. No, Mr. Han's poison spirit art collapsed. With the global power of the pure spirit realm, my golden elixir turned into a mortal. The golden elixir deputy's fat face was twisted, his knees thumped to the ground, his voice was trembling and fearful. There is no blind spot in the field for 10 miles, all spiritual power is exhausted. Mr. Han, we are finished. The tank engine stalled ahem. Fog seeped into the cockpit. Soldiers killed each other. Bang-bang gunshots were heard. Iron filings and flesh flew everywhere, and the smell of burnt metal and blood filled the air. Han Xiaojackal's face suddenly changed. His red eyes shrunk into needles, but the poisonous spirit's true body's black energy body corroded. He stepped back 100 feet, and his voice trembled for the first time. Unification of the pure spirit pearl and the immortal family? Domain purification ignores the nascent soul.
Impossible.
The bald boss climbed up from the pool of blood. His bull's eyes widened and shouted ecstatically. The immortal lord's domain. The enemy elites will kneel down and destroy themselves, but we will not be harmed by sharing the helm. Lidania's first disciple sniffed the fragrance of flowers. The spirit body surged to the edge of the golden elixir, and his eyes burst into red. Master is invincible. The Han demon gang members are like dogs kneeling and licking. Mr. Zhao and the security guard's skin was shiny, and their spiritual roots were growing wildly. They knelt down and kowtowed dong dong, their voices choked, swallowing worship. The blessings of the domain, the immortal seed of the mortal body, the divine weapon upgraded to the power of heaven. Han Tai's fat body was reborn with spiritual power, and he kowtowed furiously on his forehead, which was stained with blood. Immortal Lord, the domain cleanses the poisonous roots of my Han family, and I swear to be loyal to you to the death. Luo Li's cold eyes locked on Han Xiao, her jade finger tapped lightly in the void, and the domain sword energy was like thousands of needles piercing into his body, protecting black energy. Reveal the conspiracy or the soul will fly. Han Zhao's poisonous body shook with a bang, and the peak spiritual power of Yuanying retreated. He gritted his teeth and smiled, but his knees were weak. Luo Li, the Global Chable Alliance, the European and American black market funded my poison, transform the spiritual veins and build the immortal empire. The divine beads fall into my hands, and the city is completely poisoned. Only Han Jiazuan in the world of immortality. After saying this, Yi Chan seized the opportunity, and the silver snake virus began to beep on his tablet. The live broadcast on the entire network started, and the big screen in the city flashed Han Zhao's personal shady story. The poison pill of the Chable has dumped the spiritual veins of the world and distorted the world of immortality. Passers-by in traffic were paralyzed, and the driver opened his eyes and shouted wildly, "Devil Han Xiao! The Global Alliance has caused the spiritual energy to revive." And the Chable stock collapsed. The phone of the remaining members of the Han family rang wildly. All the side branches rebelled, and the public opinion turned around. Jingling immortal lord saves the world. Shang Yan's sword heart was bright. She seized the gap and the long sword buzzed. The pure spirit sword book was completed. The sword's golden elixir first appeared. Her body swept out like lightning. The sword seals the throat, the 9 palaces are destroyed. The sword light turned into 9 galaxies, directly taking Han Zhao's golden elixir deputy. The fat-faced deputy's fake elixir collapsed. The poisonous blade Kung broke, and his blood eyes widened. The fear broke and roared. The master of swordsmanship, an unparalleled sword. The head rolled down with a poof, and the hot blood sprayed sizzling and burned the ground. Shang Yan's mouth was bloodless, and her beautiful eyes trembled with ecstasy. Junior sister biography. My sword is the golden elixir. Seeing this, the disciples at the helm burst with morale, and they all roared to the sky. Senior sister Shang's divine sword. Han Mo's deputy is flying to dust. Luo Li waved his robe, and the blue and white slave seals pop were injected into the defeated army on the ground. Their spiritual roots were reborn and they were building foundations. They chanted dong dong wildly. Allegiance to the Jingling sect.
Betray Han Xia.
Han Tai led a branch of the Han family to present the urban industry black card to the ground. Funds beeped into the laboratory, nanometers buzzed and expanded, and tens of thousands of talismans were generated like rain. The bald boss Li Daniu lined up and shouted, "Jingling sect is officially the sect. Under the leadership of the immortal lord, all the small forces in the city have been conquered." Li Daniu's first disciple raised his sword to the sky. "Surge the helms to promote the sect and deploy defenses around the world." Mr. Zhao led the security guards on patrol, his face twisted in admiration. With the grace of the sect master, the security guards become immortal guards. Luo Li's jade face is still as cold as frost and snow, her robes are windless, her blue and white eyes are suppressed like the eve of a storm. The pure spirit beads in her body are thumping, pulsating. The spiritual power of the late nascent soul is hidden and silent, Listening to ridicule is like the buzzing of insects in the ears, and there is no wave in the lake of her heart. Everyone's desperate gaze is focused on her. The poisonous net pressed against her head, and the artillery fire was bang close at hand. The moment the elite golden elixir poison blade pierced the subrutter, the divine light between her eyebrows bang exploded, and her jade lips shouted like the cracking of eternal ice. Xinka Fusion Pure Spirit Realm Release. Joy surged, and the Jinglingzhu in Luo Li's body upgraded with the boom. The magical celestial being was perfectly integrated, and the backlash was eliminated. She crossed her legs by the Jinling River. Her blue and white eyes merged. The third spiritual vein Jing. The sword energy of the domain penetrated the ground, and the black poison disintegrated with a bang. The 3 veins of the Jinha River surged into the sky. The fragrance of flowers filled the city, and the city's neon aura was bright. Shang passers-by's spiritual roots sprouted and worshipped and whispered. The immortal Lord purifies the 3 veins, and the artifact is about to be upgraded. Luo Li's cultivation exploded, and he went straight to the early stage of the golden elixir. His jade face was radiant, and his cool aura was like the only one in the sky and the earth. Everyone knelt down and worshipped with a dong-dong like thunder. Master of the golden elixir sect. The Jingling sect dominates the city. Elder Xiaoyi's white hair was fluttering, and he knelt down and kowtowed with a dong sound. His ancient robe fell to the ground, and his voice trembled with gratitude. Sect Master, this old man officially worships me as the elder of the Jingling sect. The sword cannon is scrolled down and the hidden sect is revived. Luo Liu gently pressed his eyebrows with her hand, and golden light entered his brain. His spiritual power surged and the nascent soul was just formed. His old eyes were moist. Sect Master, God's grace. The horizon seemed to be torn apart by ink, the torrent of tanks rumbling and crushing the earth, the tracks crunching and shattering the asphalt road, thousands of iron beasts raising yellow dust to cover the sky and blocking the sun, the helicopters buzzing and black like locusts covering the moon. The propeller storm rolled up the debris on the riverside and flew around in a snap. The night sky infrared aiming points were as dense as a galaxy, locking on every corner of the pure spirit sect's rudder. The stench of sulfur and diesel in the air was pungent, mixed with the grinning curses of the distant Chable mercenaries, with European and American accents mixed in Chinese. Pure spirit bitch, I offer you the beads. The Global Alliance has a bounty of $1 billion, and the artifact Mr. Han accepts it. More than 1,000 mercenaries who cultivated immortals jumped out of the hatch, and the golden elixir peak cultivator wrapped the poisonous spirit. The armor Kaka was loaded, holding the laser poison sword Zizi to charge up. The hired leader in the early stage of nascent soul stepped into the air, with blood all over his body like a whirlpool, and roared with laughter like thunder. Little girl Luo Li, the scum of the hidden sect. The black market price has doubled, and the Chable satellite surveillance is fully activated. If you squirm, the whole sect will be wiped out. The bald boss's eyes were cracked, and his foundation-building spirit body was shaking on the edge of the poisonous wind. His machete fell to the ground with a clang, and his knees hit the ground with a plop. His voice was like a dying beast roaring. Immortal Lord. 10,000 tanks. Nascent Souls hired leader. Black market casual cultivators gathering golden elixirs. We have more than 10,000 new. They are as tiny as ants. Thousands of talismans cannot stop a round of bombardment. Lidania's first disciple's golden elixir edge condensed, but his face was sallow and his robes were soaked in cold sweat. His nose was quivering as he smelled the apocalyptic smell of diesel and blood. Master, the phantom of the poisonous dragon is suppressing the realm, and the mercenary's blood is locked on the spirit. My sword heart is trembling and I can't hold it down. Mr. Zhao led the immortal guard security guards into formation. His spiritual roots were extremely long but his legs were weak. The gun bolt clicked weakly, and his palms were stained with blood. Sect Master, the Chable military satellite. The quantum radar scan has no blind spots. Our immortal guard foundation building newcomer. One missile turned into ashes. Han Tai curled up, still holding the black gift card in his hand, with cold sweat pouring down his forehead. Immortal Lord, I, a branch of the Han family, know the inside story. The Global Alliance is serious. The European and American black market nascent souls are equipped with tanks equipped with poisonous spirit cannons. and the sect's rudder waste factory can't handle it. Shang Yan's beautiful eyes flashed with despair and coldness, and the golden elixir of sword intent first appeared. But the shoulder injury recurred and oozed blood. She gritted her teeth and whispered, "Junior sister, the source of the poisonous dragon summoned, hired the leader of the blood-evil nascent soul. Our two swords combined will only delay 3 breaths." Yi Qin's tablet beeped red alert flashing wildly. The torrent of 3D holographic projection tanks was like a doomsday tsunami. His fingers were stiff and tapping, and his voice was intermittently frightened. "Immortal Lord, the Chable satellite is quantum encrypted. It will take time for my virus to penetrate. The mercenary nanoshield has been upgraded. The laboratory wall cannot stop 5 rounds of bombardment." Elder Shaoi Yuanying first transformed into an ancient robe for hunting. His white hair fluttered in the poisonous wind. His old eyes were round and bloodshot, and the jade slip cracked into pieces. "Sect Master, the old man has lived in seclusion." Han Xiaolian, the black market boss, the leader of the European Blood Evil Alliance, the world's richest people are all gathered together. The true form of the poisonous ancient beast has descended immediately. The jingling sect will be destroyed. Immediately. Upon hearing this, the morale of Wan Yu's disciples collapsed, and they knelt down and kowtowed loudly, shouting loudly, "Immortal Lord, help me! The torrent of tanks is coming, the missiles are raining down, our new slave's spiritual roots are shallow, and the poisonous gas is festering." Han Zhao's face was distorted and he was laughing wildly. The phantom of the 1,000-year-old poisonous dragon was hovering in the sky. The black light of his scales was roaring in the fishy wind. White smoke was sizzling at the edge of the corrosion field. His red eyes were locked on Luo Li's cold figure. The voice was like thousands of insects gnawing at the heart. "Luo Li, what if the pure spirit mist is a child's play, and the divine pearl and immortal science are integrated into one? The global conglomerate alliance is here in person, hiring the leader of the nascent soul blood fiend Wushuang, and the black market is full of poisonous elixirs. You hidden door beggars wrap up gangsters, seize the Jin Lingyi spiritual veins? How big is the exposure of the Han family's secrets? Directly seize the divine pearl, poison the city and build an immortal empire." With a wave of his hand, the hired leader blood demon Yuanying swooped down, the blood swirling like a millstone grinding against the edge of the field. The laser poison swords buzzed in unison. The helicopter rockets locked on the main rudder door with a whoosh, and the tank's main gun bombed with a red light. The smell of gunpowder and poisonous mist hit the face. The bald boss was the first to bear the brunt. The blue light of his amulet shattered. He spurted blood and flew backwards. His eyes widened in despair. "Immortal Lord, one blow from the blood fiend nascent soul will turn all the disciples into ashes." Luo Li's jade face is as cold as eternal ice. Her robes are blowing in the wind. The blue and white light in her eyes is as oppressive as the abyss. The pure spirit beads in her body are thumping, pulsating. The initial spiritual power of the golden elixir is hidden and silent. Listening to ridicule is like dust, and the lake in her heart is as flat as a mirror. Everyone's eyes gathered in despair. The poisonous wind was overwhelming. The missiles boomed and exploded the main rudder wall. Flames shot up into the sky, gravel fell like rain, and the scorched earth was filled with blood. At the moment when the poisonous sword of the hired Jindan cultivator was pierced, she opened her jade lips lightly and shouted like ice cracking the ground. "Shang Yan, you should infiltrate the enemy camp and paralyze the satellite. The rest of the formations hold firm." Shang Yan's beautiful eyes lit up when she heard the order. Her sword heart was bright and she suppressed despair. She swept out of the edge of the field like silver lightning, and the long sword buzzed with invisible nanometers wrapped around her. "Junior sister, don't worry, the sword seals the blood path." The golden light of Yi Qin's tablet flashed, and the virus silver snake beep rushed into the wireless. He gritted his teeth and followed. "Immortal Lord, the quantum backdoor is opened, and the 5 breaths are paralyzed. Surveillance." The two figures disappeared into the shadow of the torrent of the tank, and the wind of the helicopter whistled and ruffled their hair. Shang Yan's sword energy stabbed the hired man's throat, poof, and hot blood spurted out. Yi Qin's fingers flew and popped to implant the virus. The hired leader looked into the distance with a ferocious smile. "Little bug, Mr. Han's divine beast has descended, and you are all dead." Luo Li waved her robe, and the blue and white realm expanded slightly by 3 miles. Her jade feet stepped on the bank of the Golden Spirit River, and her eyes locked on the hidden acupoint of the 4th spiritual vein. Purify the 4th vein. The pure spirit beads bang absorbed the essence of the earth veins, the black poison sizzling disintegrated. The 4 veins of the Golden River bang surged. The fragrance of flowers replaced the stench. Her cultivation popped exploded, reaching the peak of the golden elixir, and her cold aura despised all the troops like ants. The bald boss climbed up from the pool of blood, his eyes widened and he roared in ecstasy. The immortal Lord has purified the 4 meridians. The spiritual energy has skyrocketed, and our foundation building has skyrocketed. Li Danny sniffed the fragrance of flowers with his nose, and his sword energy and golden elixir first condensed, and his eyes exploded red. Master Peak! Enemy troops! The steps are chaotic. Mr. Zhao's skin was full of aura, and the gunshot was bang-bang accurate. Master Tianwei, the missile deflected and exploded. Han Tai's body was at the peak of his spiritual power, and he kowtowed wildly. For lines of grace, the remaining loyalty of the Han family. However, the crisis has not yet been resolved. Dozens of hired casual cultivators saw the rebirth of the purifying spiritual roots of the realm, and the faint disintegration of the poison elixir. They stared with blood in their eyes and their knees went weak. They knelt down. Jingling immortal Lord. The black market hired Han Imo by mistake. We casual cultivators are seeking to survive, and we are willing to surrender. The spiritual power skyrocketed and the foundations roared. They turned around and slashed at their peers with their poisonous swords. Brothers, wake up! Han Xiaodu Emperor is ambitious, and the jingling sect dominates the city. The sword energy of the newly descended casual cultivators was like a tide, and dozens of employees were killed. Flesh and blood flew across the air. Elder Xiaoyi stepped forward stroking his beard, his old eyes were wet and trembling, and the golden light of the fragments of the jade slip reunited. Sect Master, the old man passed on the secret method of ascension. The pure spirit pearl is finally upgraded. The pearl merges with the soul, and the domain is global. The golden light between his brows poured into Luo Li's sea of consciousness, and the secret method surged like a river. She crossed her knees and closed her eyes. The pure spirit pearl buzzed, and rotated to absorb the essence of the 4 veins. Xiaoyi knelt on the ground and made a boom sound, his voice hoarse and grateful. The master's talent, the old nascent soul's guidance, and his ascension is in sight. The elders were hopeful, and Li Dania's first disciple was ecstatic. The secret method is completed, the artifact is in its final form. In the far sky, Han Xiaojackal's face was sinister, and the poisonous dragon's phantom roared and retreated. His ghostly figure fled into the black clouds, and his communicator beeped to the black market boss. Alliance leader, the Luo Li Divine Pearl is about to be upgraded. A sneak attack plan, the true summons of the ancient pollution beast. The European blood evil is coming in person. The city voice laughed ferociously. Brother Han, hold on, the Chable fleet will follow. The ancient beasts will pollute the spiritual veins, and the beads will break. Han Xiao smiled ferociously and retreated into the shadow of the tank. The hired leader was unnoticed by the blood evil. The torrent of tanks accelerated and boomed to press the situation, and the helicopter missiles swish-locked again. Luo Li's jade eyes suddenly opened, blue and white divine light flashed, and she felt the crisis was like a needle pricking her heart. The Han demon absconded. Set up a sword formation. She waved her jade hand, and Sheng Yan sent back the sword intent to merge, and the 10,000 talisman sword energy buzzed into the sky. The morale of the bald boss was slightly lifted when he saw it, and his eyes were red. Sword array Tianluo. Block 1 round. However, there was a boom in the depths of the earth. The roar of the ancient polluted beast was faintly heard. Black mist seeped out of the river bottom. The torrent of tanks was nearly 1,000 feet, and the blood evil nascent soul blood whirlpool crushed the edge of the sword array with a crunching sound. The crisis was like a landslide and everyone was desperate again. Immortal Lord, the true form of the ancient beast, can the sect turn the tide? There was a rumbling in the depths of the earth's veins, and black mist squirmed like thousands of insects and spewed out of the bottom of the Jinling River. The rotten smell was instantly strong like a pile of festering corpses. The river water boiled and bubbled, and the black-scaled giant claws clicked, to tear the riverbed rock, revealing half of the rotten body, the true body of the ancient pollution beast. A deformed behemoth that has been fused with poisonous dragons and industrial waste for thousands of years. The black pustules all over its body exploded and spewed out turbid liquid. The corrosive air sizzled and filled the air with white smoke. Its red one-eyed eyes were as round as a blood moon. Its ferocious laugh and roar shattered the glass of the surrounding tanks and splashed everywhere. The tracks squeaked and stopped, and the mercenaries' eardrums buzzed and fell to the ground with bleeding. The blood whirlpool of the leader of the blood fiend nascent soul crushed the edge of the sword array with a crunching sound like broken bones, and Han Xiaojacal's faint smile could be heard in the distance. Luo Li, the true call of the ancient beasts in the global black market. The beads are broken, and the spiritual veins are forever stained. The bald boss's bull eyes were cracked, and his spiritual body at the peak of foundation building was twisted at the edge of the black mist. He thumped his knees and then smashed them into the scorched earth. His nose twitched and smelled the rotten pus. His voice was like a wild dog howling in despair. Immortal Lord, the true form of the ancient beast, the source of tens of thousands of years of pollution, the poisonous gas turns into 10,000 bones in one breath. Our sword formation cannot stop at one claw. Li Dania's first disciple Jean Dan was trembling with his sword energy, his face was sallow with cold sweat, and the knuckles holding the sword in his hands were creaking and turning white. Master, the beast's eyes are locked on the spiritual veins, the heart of my sword is broken, and the spiritual energy is flowing backwards. Mr. Zhao's immortal guard formation's gun bolts jammed, and his aura was strong, but his legs were as soft as cotton. Hearing the roar, his brain was about to explode. Sect Master, the torrent of tanks stopped under the claws of the beast, the mercenary blood demon pressed down on top, and the ancient beast's pus mist seeped into the formation. We, the new member of Foundation Establishment, can smell the blood. Han Tai's fat body curled up in the black mist, and the spiritual power of the peak of Foundation Establishment was reversed. The ancient beast Han Xiao personally summoned us, the Black Market European Alliance leader. Our slave Qinzhen. The sect is destroyed. Dozens of new Jindan cultivators stared with blood in their eyes, their slave marks buzzed in pain, and their knees became weak and trembled. Jingling immortal. There is no solution to the ancient beast's pollution core. It's too late to hire the black market. Elder Xiaoyi's nascent soul's ancient robes hissed and tore, and the black mist corroded his white hair and sizzled and turned yellow. His old eyes were bloodshot, and his hand stroking his beard trembled like a candle in the wind. His voice was hoarse and intermittent. Sect Master, the old man's experience in the secret method. The ancient beast has been around for thousands of years. The treasure of the black market Zhongzhong, Han Xiao and Oshuesha. The poisonous source of industrial nanometers, the 5 spiritual veins under the claws are destroyed. The backlash of Zhurong Yuan Shun is intensifying. Your golden elixir is at its peak. Shang Yan rushed back from the shadow of the tank, her shoulder wound stabbed and split again, hot blood sprayed out, and the sword intent the golden elixir first appeared. But his aura was chaotic, and his beautiful eyes flashed with despair. Junior sister, the enemy camp virus has only paralyzed half of the satellites. The roar of the ancient beast shocked my sword and cut off the blood path, and the blood-evil nascent soul is about to swoop in. Yi Chen's tablet beep 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 red light flashed, and the 3D projection of the ancient beast weaknesses flashed. His fingers stiffened and he tapped, his back soaked with cold sweat, and the smell of diesel and pus mixed in his nose made him nauseous. Immortal Lord, the Xianka nanocannon is charged to 30%. The core of the beast's weak point is the pus core. The torrent of tanks restarts to suppress the situation. My backdoor quantum collapse will take time. Luoli was sitting cross-legged by the Jinling River, her jade face as cold as ice for eternity, her robes blowing in the wind, and the blue and white light in her eyes suppressing the abyss like a galaxy gathering momentum. The pure spirit beads in her body were thumping, pulsating. The peak spiritual power of the golden elixir was hidden like a tsunami, and the backlash pain was like thousands of needles piercing the soul. Her heart was flat and her mind was racing. The core of ancient beast pollution is the source of black market poison for thousands of years. Han Xiao escaped from the United Nations the Chable. The blood demon suppressed the torrent of tanks. Shang Yan and Yi Chan were injured and exhausted, and Xiaoyi only had 50% of his secret magic beads. The sect was destroyed in one wrong battle. The sect was wiped out. The core was absorbed forcefully, and the backlash exploded and the soul was shattered. Together with the weakness, the spiritual source was reversed, and the entire sect ascended. The jade lips are slightly pursed with a cold aura that despises all the armies like dust ants, and the psychological whispers like the cold wind. The ambition of Korean demons, the power of ants, the pearls of the world. I am the only one who is the most powerful. She tapped the riverside with her jade finger, sensing the pulsation of the hidden acupuncture point of the fifth spiritual vein. For a moment the black mist pressed down, and she shouted like a thunderous explosion. Xiao Yi's secret method stabilizes the pearl. Sheng Yinshen, the weak point of the artillery sword. The disciples stabilize the sword formation, and the slave seals are scattered to cut off the blood evil. Xiao Yuan made his old eyes moist, and the nascent soul spiritual power buzzed into the center of Luo Li's brows, and the golden light surged like a river, stabilizing the voltage and backlashing. He knelt down and made a dong sound, his voice trembling with ecstasy. The genius of the sect master, the old nascent soul protector, 70% of the pearl-melted soul. Yanmei's eyes were bright and the sword heart was bright, and the silver electric figure swept out of the sword formation. The long sword buzzed the nano-invisibility wrap, and went straight to the giant claws of the ancient beast. Junior sister sword seal. Yi Chen's flat golden snake moved, and the Shinka nanocannon beep was 80% charged. He gritted his teeth and followed the flood of tanks. On the stream, the silver light of the virus paralyzed half of them, soared up and exploded into the river with boom. Immortal Lord. Lock the weak pus core, bombard. The bald boss got up from despair, bullseye red blood roared. Immortal Lord's layout. Thousands of disciples stabilize the sword, and the casual cultivator cuts off the blood. Lida, the golden elixir of ox sword chi, flashed for the first time, and he smelled the stench of spiritual pressure. The leader roared. Master is wise, the ancient beast must die. Mr. Zhao's immortal guard's gunfire bang bang accurately fired the hired casual cultivators, and the aura was full of ecstasy. The master's calculations, the tank tracks are broken. The ancient beast locked Luoli with its red eyes, its huge claws smashed into the sword array. Half of the Jiogong galaxy was shattered, the rubble and fire crackled like rain. The black and swollen pus from the rotten claws sprayed out and melted the armor of the tank, and the mercenaries screamed awe and festered flesh and blood. The blood whirlpool of the leader of the blood fiend nascent soul swooped down like a millstone, laughed ferociously and thundered. Pure spirit lowly made, ashes fly under the claws of ancient beasts. The newly dropped golden elixir loose cultivator's slave mark was scorching, and his spiritual power surged. He turned around and slashed at the edge of the blood whirlpool with his poisonous sword. Puff! Flesh and blood flew everywhere. They opened their eyes wide and roared. Immortal Lord's grace! Bloody evil! Han Tai's spiritual energy surged at the peak of his fat body and foundation building. He offered money and broke the black card and clenched his fist. The slaves are cut off. The sect leader will purify the world. Luo Li's jade eyes lock the core of the beast, and the psychological game is like electricity. Sheng Yi will hurt the claw core first, and I will absorb the source. Don't be confused for a moment of reversal. With a wave of her robe, the blue and white realm expanded 5 miles. The pure spiritual mist hissed, swallowing up the black mist. The fragrance of flowers by the river suppressed the stench of pus, and the petals fluttered in a whirling sword formation to reunite. Sheng Yan's body was like silver light piercing the gap between the giant claws. The golden elixir of the sword's intention flashed buzz. The sword light was like a silver dragon cutting off the black scales and breaking with a click. Pus and blood spurted into the river with a crash, and the stench was soaring into the sky. Her shoulder was injured, but her beautiful eyes were full of blood. Junior sister, the claw is broken. The fairy cannon on the top of Yi Chen's tank boomed, and the blue light burst, hitting directly. The weak point of the pus core popped, and exploded the black swelling, and the nanoparticles beep, penetrated into the disintegrating poison source. He sweated violently and danced with his fingers. Immortal Lord, the core is 70% broken. The ancient beast's roar shook the sky. The river water spurted thousands of feet backwards. The torrent of tanks overturned 100 vehicles with a bang, and the blood evil nascent soul trembled and retreated with a crunch. Everyone saw that the claws were broken and the core was cracked. Despair turned to shock. The bald boss had bulging bull eyes. The spiritual body at the peak of Foundation establishment was shaking wildly. They roared in ecstasy like beasts. Immortal lords joined forces. Senior Sister Shang's sword broke the claws. Yi Xianka's cannon cracked the core. And the ancient beast roared weakly. Li Dania's nose blew the fragrance of flowers into his lungs, and the golden elixir of sword energy was at the middle level. Explosion. Master's divine plan, spiritual pulse protection. Our sword hearts are reunited. Mr. Zhao Xianwei saw the tank explode into a sea of fire, and the gun bolt was wildly pulled and the aura shot into the sky. Sect Master Tianwei, the employment collapsed. Elder Xiaoyi's beard hand stopped shaking, and his old tears shone. Sect Master's game, 90% of the pearls are accumulated. Luo Liu stepped on the river, the pure spirit beads bang rotated to absorb the core black source, the blue and white divine light was swallowed like a black hole. The pollution sizzled, disintegrated and turned into a golden spiritual source, buzzing. The whole sect's spiritual veins bang resonated, and the fragrance of flowers replaced the rotten smell like a tide. Her soul was bitten like thousands of insects. Her jade face was pale but she sneered. Han Mo Ant, the source of purity is soaring. The Zhurong Yuanshan popped to perfection. The domain skyrocketed by 10 miles. And the golden elixir peak spiritual power surged to the top, breaking through the edge of Yuanying. The remnant soul of the ancient beast wailed and shrank, and the black shadow popped into the bead and was purified into a silver-scaled mountain guardian spirit beast. It hovered over the main rudder and roared to protect the law, and the scale light purified the remaining mist. The spiritual source was reversed. The fifth spiritual vein of the Jinling River was awakened with a boom. Golden light shot up into the night sky. The spiritual energy of the abandoned factory surged 100 times. More than 10,000 disciples were building foundations, and the golden elixir first appeared. The leader's spiritual body, the nascent soul, had just condensed, and Nyoyan knelt down in ecstasy and said, "Dong dong." The whole sect has broken through. The remnants of the ancient beasts guard the mountain. Li Dania's first disciple, the nascent soul, had a great aura, and his sword energy was galactic. Master is the only honor in the urban fairy world. Mr. Zhao's immortal guard spear melted into the spirit sword, patrolling like a tiger. The sect leader is in charge. The power is as powerful as dust. Immortal cultivators from all over the world sense the spiritual source in the distance, and the Emen cultivators buzzed with messages. Jingling immortal lord cleanses the 5 meridians. The black market poison source is broken. Join the jingling sect. Han Xiaojackal in the black cloud had a pale and distorted face, and the communicator beeped to the headquarters of the big Chable. Alliance leader, the ancient beast is defeated. Luo Liju merges with the soul. The global spiritual source responds, and the final encirclement and suppression is launched quickly. The fleet Longtan headquarters locks her. The Chable laughed ferociously. Brother Han, the European and American black markets are all in force, and they go straight to the pure spirit headquarters? Does Luo Li dare to enter Longtan? Han Zhao's dog jumped over the wall, his red eyes were blood red. The true form of the poisonous spirit burned its origin wildly. The black cloud cracked with a bang, and the phantom of the ancient beast appeared with a roar. 1,000-year poisonous dragon hovered. The black light of the scales swallowed the sky, and the fishy wind swept 10 miles. Luo Li. The global conglomerate alliance has already moved thousands of tank fleets, thousands of helicopters. The black market nascent soul gathers. The ancient beast is summoned. Your sect is wiped out. The distant horizon is booming with tanks. The night sky is buzzing with black helicopters. The crisis is like the end of the world. The black clouds in the sky poured like ink. The red light of the quantum radar beep 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 pierced the night, locking the main rudder of the abandoned factory. The European and American black market fleets, rumbling engines roared over the environment. The nanomissiles on the deck cock-a-loaded. The spiritual vein pollution cannon buzzed, charged purple-black mist spewed out. The filthy and putrid stench blew in the face with the wind, and the surface of the Jinling River popped and rolled with broken waves. At the bow of the ship, Han Xiaojackal's face was twisted and pale, and the poisonous spirit of the nascent soul peak was entrenched. The communicator hissed and amplified the ferocious smile that echoed in the audience. Little maid Luo Li, what about Zhurong Yuanshan? There are 5,000 immortal guards at the headquarters of the Chable Longtan. The golden elixir nascent soul is like ants. The global black market nano fleet is swarming, and the spiritual veins are forever tainted. You sect ants are wiped out. The fleet trace is reflected in the river. The missiles swooped down. The remaining tanks exploded in the sea of fire and the mercenaries howled ah and turned into ashes. The bald boss Yuan Ying's first condensed spirit body was shaking wildly. His eyes were cracked and bloodshot. His nose was quivering and he smelled the rancid smell of poisonous nanometer mist mixed with burnt diesel fuel. His knees thumped and then hit the scorched earth. His voice was like a desperate beast roaring. Immortal Lord. Fleet Longtan. One black market nanomissile. The whole sect was reduced to ashes, and the spiritual veins, the newly purified 5 meridians, will be destroyed. Li Dania's first disciple Yuan Ying's sword energy was trembling. His face was sallow and he was sweating like rain, and his knuckles on the sword were creaking and turning white. He pointed at the missile's tail flame on the river. Master Hanemo mocked, the top Yuaning of the Chable is here in person. Our sword heart collapses again. Mr. Zhao's immortal guard arrayed the spirit gun click. Ka stuck. His aura was strong but his legs were trembling. Hearing the roar of the ship, his brain was about to explode. Sect Master, the global live broadcast is on. Billions of worldly eyes are locked. The tank satellite is paralyzed and useless. The Longtan nanonet is overwhelming. The spiritual power of Han Tai's fat body nascent soul was reversed while black blood spurted out. Cold sweat fell on his forehead, and he was fat. He held the black card fragments with trembling hands. Immortal Lord, the master of the black market, you sacrifices ancient beasts. Our slaves are shallow, and the headquarters is destroyed. The newly released golden elixir loose cultivator slave seal buzzed with burning pain, and he knelt down and trembled with blood eyes wide open. Jingling Immortal Lord, the poison source of the fleet has no solution. It's too late to surrender. The whole network laughs at the destruction of the sect. Elder Xiaoyi's nascent soul's ancient robe hissed and cracked again. The black mist corroded the white hair and sizzled the curls. The old eyes were bloodshot. The hand stroking his beard shook like a broken candle, hoarse and intermittent. Sect Master, the old man's secret scroll. Mr. Longtan, all the earth veins have polluted the core. The Chables have joined forces with the black market to sell 5,000 golden elixirs, and the nano-spiritual network has sealed the sky. Your beads have soared, but the backlash has not disappeared. Shang Yan's shoulder injury spurted hot blood, and the aura of the sword's golden elixir began to appear. The beautiful eyes flashed coldly with despair, and glanced back from the shadow of the tank. Junior sister, the ship missile rain locks the spiritual veins. The blood evil is under heavy pressure. The sword seals the blood path. Yi Chen's tablet beeped red. The 3D projection fleet's weaknesses flashed. His fingers stiffened and tapped. His back soaked in cold sweat. The poisonous mist was nauseating. Immortal Lord, the quantum backdoor of Shenka collapsed. The nanocannon is only 40% charged. The black core of Longtan Building's earth veins. My virus has only paralyzed a corner. Luoli sat cross-legged on the bank of the Jinling River. Her jade face was as cold as ice. Her robes were blowing in the wind. Her blue and white eyes suppressed the abyss of the galaxy. The pure spirit beads in her body were beating and pulsing like her heart. The tsunami of spiritual power at the peak of the golden elixir was accumulating, and the backlash was a dull pain, thousands of needles piercing the soul. Her mind is at peace and she is playing an electronic game in her mind. The fleet is suppressing the Korean demons and taunting them. The Chable Longtan ley line is the source of global pollution. The Zhurong Yuan Shun is 90% ready, and she will go straight to Huanglong to purify the whole city, reverse and soar. The jade lips are slightly pursed, with a cold and elegant look that despises all the troops like dust, and the cold wind in her heart whispers. Korean demon ants, plutocrats and dignitaries, bead-turned sacred tree. I am the only one who is supreme. The jade feet lightly stepped on the river, and the water waves buzzed, and the 5 golden spirit veins resonated. She waved her robe, and the blue-white field expanded 20 miles. The pure spiritual mist hissed, swallowed the missile rain and popped, and disintegrated into a swirling petal dance. The fragrance of flowers was like a tide and suppressed the rotten smell. The 9 palaces soared formation and the galaxy reunited and boomed, to protect the chief rudder. The silver-scaled mountain guarding spirit beast roared. The silver light shot into the sky and shocked the ship's shadow to retreat 100 feet. He yelled loudly like thunder and exploded the fog. Disciples, follow me straight to Long Tan. Xiaoyi secretly protects the beads. Shang Yan and Yi Chan join forces with swords and cannons. Li Dainiu, the bald man, cuts off the ship with his sword, and Mr. Zhao Han Tainu seals the scattered cultivators to destroy the remaining party. Live broadcast around the world. The world worships the pure spirit. Xiaoyi's old eyes were moist and bright with ecstasy. Nascent soul's spiritual power buzzed into the center of Luo Li's eyebrows, and the golden light river surged to stabilize the pressure and backfired. He knelt down and kowtowed with a dong sound, and his voice trembled like a fanatic. Sect Master Tianwei, Old Protector. The bee transformed into the sacred tree is 100%. Shang Yan's beautiful eyes were clear, and the silver figure flashed out. Junior sister sword breaks the dragon pond. Yi Chen's tablet golden snake ran wildly, and the Xinka nanocannon was fully charged, following the torrent of tanks. Xinka Lord, the black core of the earth is locked, and the virus spreads throughout the network. The bald boss with red eyes roared, rising from despair. The immortal master's plan. Thousands of disciples cut off the ship with swords. Li Dainia's sword energy yuanying screamed, and the scent of flowers entered his lungs. Master is the most honorable, protected by spiritual veins. Mr. Zhao's gunfire bang bang, accurately exploded, and his aura soared to the sky. Sect Master attacked directly, the powerful will fly into ashes. Han Tai's fat body aura surged, and the slave seal golden light. Slave sacrifices his life. Luo Li's jade body flew into the air, and the blue and white divine light rose from the ground like a tornado. She led the sword formation of more than 10,000 disciples to buzz the Milky Way, and rushed directly to Longtan's headquarters, the Chable Steel Building complex 100 miles away. The Night Sky Global Live broadcast drone buzzed to follow and film, and hundreds of millions of worldly eyeballs were locked. And the barrage Jinglingshan, respect? Are you fake? The black market fleet is invincible. Black mist spewed from the building's earth veins, and the polluted spiritual veins twisted like thousands of insects. The nanonet sizzled blocked the sky, and 5,000 Jindan nascent soul guards lined up. The spirit guns and cannons bang fired a volley of purple and black poisonous mist, corroding the air and filling the sky with white smoke. The old monster at the top of the yuanying peak of the Chable on the top floor of the building smiled ferociously, and the communication echoed. Luo Li is going to die. The black core earth veins are melted with industrial nanometers, and the whole city's spiritual source is polluted. Han Xiaojak's smile enlarged. The beads are broken and the soul is destroyed. The sword array collided with the nanonet with a huge boom. Half of the silver light shattered. The disciple's gold building elixir melted his flesh and fell to the ground. Rancid pus and blood clattered on the ground, and the tank's torrent crunched as its track broke and overturned. The bald boss's spiritual body twisted. His eyes protruded and roared. Immortal Master! There is no solution to the nanonet. The high-level nascent soul is pressing down. Our nascent soul is first condensed. Li Dainia's sword heart burst, and nosebleeds gushed out. Master, the black core pulses, the whole city's aura is reversed. Shang Yan's sword sealed the poisonous mist. Her beautiful eyes were bloodshot. Junior sister, the guard's golden elixir is like a tide. Yi Chen's tablet went viral. The virus is paralyzed by only 30%, the nanometer backlash. Luo Li's jade eyes lock the dark core of the building, and the psychological game is like electricity. First suppress the enemy's pride, and then the storm will sweep over us. Her robe exploded with a blue and white storm boom dash like a doomsday hurricane wheel. The pure spirit atomized and 10,000 dragons devoured the nanonet and collapsed with a pop bang. The field soared for 50 miles. The floral frenzy replaced the rancid smell. The petals fluttered, and the swirling sword formation reunited. The silver-scaled spirit beast dived and tore the fleet deck with a silver roar. The steel shattered with a click, and the missile exploded into a sea of fire. With a boom, the old monster nascent soul at the top of the Chable had his eyes wide and turbid. His spirit body was withered and shriveled, and his voice was trembling and desperate. Pure spirit storm, the black core of the earth's veins is reversed.
Impossible.
The 5,000 guards' golden elixir spiritual power was reversed and wow spurted out black blood. The live broadcast barrage exploded. Holy shit! The top brass of the Chable are dying live, and the Jindan guards kneel down? The true god of pure spirit immortal. Hundreds of millions of secular people knelt on the screen in worship, and the fragrance of flowers was virtually passed to their noses. Sheng Yan's sword intention golden elixir flashed at the middle level, and the silver dragon cut through the steel frame of the building and tilted with a click. Junior sister. The rest of the party is destroyed. Shaoyi nascent soul's spiritual power protection array, tears streaming down his face. The master is stormy. The sacred tree is gaining momentum. Yi Chen's fingers were flying, and the Shinka tablet buzzed, and merged with the edge of the pure spirit bead. The nanoparticles beep, injected into the blue and white divine light and bang, evolved. The pure spirit bead transformed into the shadow of the sacred tree. The root veins popped through the earth veins. The black core ZZ disintegrated and turned into a golden spiritual source. The whole city's spiritual veins awakened with a bang. Golden light soared into the sky and penetrated the clouds. And the flowers in the abandoned building bloomed, and the spiritual energy surged. Han Xiaojia's face was as pale as paper, and the nascent soul poison spirit's true form emerged from the black mist, entrenched on the roof of the building, its poisonous claws gripping the heart, crunching, and the spiritual power collapsed, and his voice trembled with fear. Luo Li. The roots of the sacred tree. Global black market conspiracy. The EU's main contribution sacrificed the demon king. Luo Liu pointed, and the roots of the pure spirit tree buzzed, to lock the core of its golden elixir. A bead suppressed the pop, and exploded the poisonous spirit. Han Xiao knelt down with an awe and withered, nosebleeds mixed with tears and confessed. Black Market Alliance. Industrial Nasdaq. The remnant soul of demon King Mirong has polluted the spiritual veins of the world and destroyed the hidden sect. When everyone saw the Han demon kneeling down, they were shocked and turned into ecstasy. The bald boss bull eyes bulged wildly, and the nascent soul body knelt and knelt dong dong. The immortal lord's one bead suppresses the nascent soul. Li Dania's sword energy nascent soul peak exploded. Master broke through the void and soared. The black market conspiracy was shattered. Zhao Zongling's gun melted into the branches. Sect leader, the urban fairyland. Han Tai's slave seal golden elixir reached its peak. Servants worship, the powerful are as dust. The holy light of Luo Li's jade face flourished, and the roots of the sacred tree connected the spiritual sources of the world, and the backlash was all pure. Her cultivation blasted to the edge of the void realm, and the immortal energy filled the air. She looked down at the army with cold disdain. The ants and dignitaries fly away. The reputation of the sect shocked the urban immortal world, and the global hidden sect buzzed the wave of joining, and the entire network of secular people knelt down to worship, pure spirit, eternal life. Then Han Zhao's withered body exploded as a sacrifice of black blood. The abyss of the earth cracked open with a roar, and the remnant soul of the pollution devil roared. The giant red and black shadow erupted, and the rotten odor rose to the sky. The devil's eyes locked on the divine tree. Pure spirit, destroy. The crisis reappeared. Luo Li's jade eyes flashed coldly, and she mentally whispered, Demon King Ant, the divine tree dominates. The earth's abyss rumbling cracked open like thousands of insects gnawing at the bones. The red and black demonic shadow roared, shaking the heaven and earth. The putrid stench came to the nostrils like billions of burning corpses. The thick fog rolled and covered the stars, and the devil's claws clicked to crack the steel. On the remaining roof of the building, nanoshards crashed like black rain. The spirit bodies of the 5,000 surrendered golden elixir guards sizzle, corrode, and twist. Their flesh and blood peel off while kneeling, and the miserable screams echo in the night sky like the lamentation of hell. The devil's eye was as red as the blood moon and locked onto the phantom of the pure spirit tree. The poisonous mist hissed and eroded the root veins. The source of the golden spirit popped and withered in reverse. The golden light of the newly awakened spiritual veins in the city buzzed and dimmed. The flowers in the ruined buildings squeaked and withered into black mud. The spiritual energy surged 100 times and was reversed in an instant. The stench soared into the sky and made the disciples' nasal cavity burn and make them vomit. Half of the bald boss Yuanying spirit body crunched. His bull's eyes bulged and burst with blood. His nostrils quivered and he smelled the rotten stench entering his lungs like thousands of needles piercing his heart. His knees thumped and cracked the scorched earth. His voice was like a dying beast roaring. Immortal Lord! The Demon King sacrifices. The remnant soul of the Korean demon leads to the abyss of the earth. The black mist is boundless, and the roots of the sacred tree wither. The spiritual roots of the entire sect's 10,000 disciples are rotting, and our nascent soul is like ants. Li Dania's first disciple Yuan Ying's peak sword energy buzzed and disintegrated. His face turned sallow like a dead corpse, cold sweat mixed with nosebleeds cracked on the ground, and the knuckles holding the sword squeaked, and he pointed at the giant claw of the demon. Master, the global black market sacrifices the ancient beast Demon King. The 6 spiritual veins will be destroyed when they are newly purified, and the sword heart will collapse forever. Mr. Zhao's spiritual weapon clicked, his spiritual light dimmed, his legs were limp, and his brain exploded when he heard the demon's roar. Sect Master, the live broadcast of hundreds of millions of worldly people turned to mocking. The demonic energy sealed the sky, and the residual nanometer network backfired. The peak spiritual power of Hantai's slave Wow sprayed black pus, and he was fat. The body was as thin as firewood, and the trembling fat hands grasped the ground. Immortal Lord, the Black Horde Demon Solu leader personally presented. Our pure spirit slave seal is burning, and the altar is ashes. The new 5,000 golden elixir loose cultivator slave seal exploded with a buzz, and the bloody eyes crazily protruded and knelt down and twitched. Pure spirit immortal Lord. The Demon King is rotten and has no solution. I regret surrendering to the Korean demon, and my spiritual roots are festering. Elder Xiao Yi's Yuan Ying's ancient robe hissed and burned, black mist eroded into his white hair and sizzled and turned to ashes, his old eyes were turbid with tears of despair, and his remaining hand shaking like a candle in the wind, he died hoarsely. Sect Master. The final secret scroll warns that the devil's remnant soul is melted into industrial nanometers, polluting the world's spiritual source. Your divine tree is soaring, and the backlash is coming again. The black blood from Shang Yan's shoulder injury spattered, and the aura of the sword's golden elixir was flowing wildly. The bloodshot eyes of her beautiful eyes flashed with despair and coldness, and she staggered back from the shadow of the building. Junior sister, the devil's claws grasp the sacred tree, the sword seals the blood road. The whole city's spiritual energy is exhausted. Yichen's tablet beep beep beep. Black screen burst. The weakness of the 3D projected demonic shadow flashed out. His fingers were stiff and unresponsive. After Han Zhao's withered body snapped and self-destructed with black blood as a sacrifice, his remaining soul hissed out of the abyss of the earth. The jackal's face was twisted and pale like a ghost. The broken shadow of the nascent soul's poisonous spirit hovered around the edge of the claws. His voice trembled and echoed with fear. Luo Li, I am the Demon King's sacrifice. The Black Market General Alliance, the main demon soul of the European Union, is invincible. No matter how strong your pearl god tree is, the world's spiritual veins will be defiled and the hidden sect will be destroyed forever. The giant shadow of the Demon King boomed, and swept away the silver-scaled guardian spirit beast. Roar! The silver light shattered and fell to the ground. Blood mist spewed out, and the ancient protector's breath entered the body and withered and twitched. The global live broadcast drones buzzed, to follow the demon shadow, and the barrage exploded. Holy shit! The pure spirit immortal divine tree withered? The devil is invincible. The black market has won. Billions of worldly eyeballs turned black with fear. The virtual smell of putridity entered their noses, and the powerful ants shrank in their mansions. Luo Li's jade body is entrenched on the remnant peak of the building. Her jade face is as cold as 9 mysterious ice. Her robe is filled with blue and white holy light. Her eyes are suppressing the abyss of the galaxy and shimmering with cold light. The pulse of the pure spirit tree in her body is reversed, and thousands of needles stabbing her soul are like burning fire. Her mind is flat, and her brain is playing games with lightning. The Demon King is suppressing the realm and the remnant soul of Han is taunting. The abyss of the earth is the source of global pollution. The roots of the sacred tree absorb the demonic energy and turn into a spiritual spring, and she reverses the situation and ascends to rule. The jade lips were slightly pursed, with a cold and glamorous aura that looked down on the demon shadow like dust, and the cold wind in her heart whispered, Demon King Ant, Black Market Dignitary, the sacred tree is the only one. The jade feet lightly stepped on the broken roof, and the black abyss buzzed, the demonic energy resonated. With a wave of her robe, the blue and white field expanded for hundreds of miles, and the phantom of the pure spirit divine tree boomed. The roots grew wildly like 10,000 dragons out of the sea, swallowing the red and black demonic mist pa, and disintegrated into golden spirit petals swirling. The fragrance of flowers was crazy. The tide is like a tsunami and the pressure is 10,000 times more rotten. The devil's claws click, wither and break. The poisonous mist hisses, and the spiritual spring crash gushes out. The spiritual roots that irrigate more than 10,000 disciples buzz, and the golden light bursts out. The peaks of the foundation building elixirs rise together. The sword array galaxy reunites and bangs, to protect the general altar. Xiaoyi's old eyes were bloodshot and moist with ecstasy. The nascent soul's spiritual power buzzed into the core of the sacred tree. The golden light river surged to stabilize the demonic energy. He knelt down and knocked on the ground with a dong-dong sound. His voice trembled like a fanatic shouting, "Sect Master Tianwei, the sacred tree absorbs the demonic spring. Old man, the final pure spirit ascension technique of the legend of the dead ninth turn of the root vein. Flying immortal in the void realm." The ancient scroll unfolded with a hiss. The golden talisman flew into the center of Luo Li's eyebrows. The ascension immortal technique buzzed, merged with the spirit. Her cultivation level boom broke through the virtual realm, and the immortal energy filled the air like a sea of clouds. Sheng Yan's beautiful eyes and sword heart were absolutely clear, and the spirit-absorbing sword energy boomed to reach the realm of divine transformation. The silver dragon sword energy hissed and cut off the demon Shadow's arm with a click, and black blood sprayed like oil into the sky. She trembled with ecstasy. Junior sister divine tree. Swordsmanship transforms into a god, and the demon king's arm is broken. Yi Chanping, the board beep restarted and the golden snake ran wildly. The Shenka nano array buzzed. To complete the blockade, the particles popped to net the abyss of the earth veins. The demon king regenerated ZZ to seal it. His fingers fluttered and cold sweat evaporated. Immortal Lord, the nanofusion of the sacred tree, the demon soul is sealed forever. The bald boss's eyes were red and blood was bulging wildly. He climbed out of despair and his body regrouped to the middle level of Yuanying. He smelled the fragrance of flowers and spiritual springs and entered his lungs like nectar. He roared and knelt down. The immortal sacred tree absorbs demons. 10,000 disciples' golden elixirs burst together to build the foundation. Our sword cuts through the black abyss. Li Dania's sword energy Yuanying's peak blasted and blessed him, and the nosebleed stopped. Master's ascension technique. The spiritual veins protect Yongzuan. Mr. Zhao's spirit gun merged with the branches of the spiritual spring and bang bang. Spirit, the magic mist is about to explode, and the spiritual light soars into the sky. The master turns into a spring, and the powerful demon king flies away. Han Tai's fat body's spiritual energy surges to the perfection of the golden elixir, and the slave seal's golden light is dazzling. Slave's grace, worship the sacred tree. 5,000. The golden elixir loose cultivator's slave seal's reborn spiritual root burst out, and the blood-eyed mania turned around and poisoned the sword to kill the demon's afterimage. Puff! Black blood flew everywhere. They knelt down and trembled and shouted, "The immortal Lord's spiritual spring! The black market demon king is destroyed, and the pure soul will be eternal." The roots of the sacred tree penetrated the sixth and final spiritual vein deep in the black core of the city core. Boom! Golden light shot into the sky and penetrated the clouds. The spiritual energy of the whole city revived 100 times. The flowers bloomed and the ruined buildings buzzed, and the spiritual fruits were fragrant. The nanopollution sizzled and exhausted the spiritual source. The age of cultivating immortals boomed opened, and the hidden door spread around the world. News of the Buzz franchise has been overwhelming, and the live broadcast barrage exploded by kneeling and worshipping the sacred tree. The pure spirit immortal god tree absorbs demons. The city's spiritual energy is revived, and worship soars. Billions of secular people knelt on the screen. The fragrance of flowers and spiritual springs spread to their noses. The rich and powerful ants' mansions collapsed and their spiritual veins awakened, and the rich second-generation nascent soul slave plopped on his knees to confess the secrets of the black market. Luo Liu pointed, and the branches of the sacred tree buzzed, and rolled up Han Zhao's remaining soul. The broken shadow of the poisonous spirit withered and knelt down. The jackal's face was twisted in despair and tears flowed. His voice trembled and begged for mercy, which echoed throughout the audience. Immortal Lord, please forgive me. I am the Demon King of the Black Market General Alliance. I am the main industry of the European Union. Nanosoul fusion, the global spiritual veins are defiled in the conspiracy. The slaves will come down forever, and I will give you all the secret scrolls. Seeing the Han demon's remnant soul kneeling down, people were shocked and turned to ecstasy. The bald boss with bull eyes crazily raised his yuanying spirit body and kowtowed dong dong. The immortal master suppresses the remnant soul with one finger. The sacred tree purifies the 6 meridians, and the city's immortal world opens. Li Dania's sword heart turned into a god and said, Master accepts the demon slaves, and the hidden sect rules the world. Shang Yan's silver sword blocked the remnant soul, and her beautiful eyes worshipped. Junior sister, revive the general altar. Luo Li's cold holy light flourished, and the roots of the sacred tree connected to the spiritual source of the world. The backlash was all pure and the immortal energy filled the air. She looked down at the demonic abyss with contempt. The Ant Demon King, the black market dignitary, was wiped out. The main altar of the jingling sect was revived. More than 10,000 disciples built the golden elixir together. The silver-scaled spirit beast was reborn and circled with silver light. 5,000 descendants expanded the guards, and the global casual cultivators buzzed to join the talisman. Luo Liu's voice was like thunder. Leader of the pure spirit, the city will cultivate immortality for eternity. The secular people of the whole network paid homage, and the spiritual energy revival storm swept across. However, the black bubbles of the abyss of the earth were rolling, and the final form of the Demon King's remnant soul was boom. The red and black demonic bodies gathered together, and the rotten odor rose into the sky. The demonic eye-locking divine tree roared. The pure spirit is finally destroyed. Luo Li's jade eyes flashed with cold light, and she mentally whispered. Finally, the ants, the divine tree, ascended to fight. The black bubbles of the earth's abyss surged like billions of poisonous insects boiling. The red and black demon body bang, reunited with a 100-foot-long body. The putrid smell was like a mountain of corpses burning for thousands of years and soared into the sky. The demon scales clack-clack, rubbed against the remains of the steel building. Sparks scattered in the red night sky. The demon's eyes were as red as lava. Glass crashed like a torrential downpour. Poisonous mist hissed for hundreds of miles. Nano-black thread sizzled around the roots of the sacred tree. Golden petals withered and fell to the ground and turned into black mud. Spiritual springs flowed backwards and turned into pus. The spiritual roots of more than 10,000 disciples buzzed and twisted in severe pain. Their nasal cavities were as hot as fire, and their flesh and blood peeled off as they knelt down. Their miserable screams of "ah" echoed like the cries of thousands of ghosts. The bald boss nascent soul's intermediate spirit body crunched again. His bull's eyes bulged and bloodshot burst like a spider web. His nose flapped and he inhaled the rotten stench into his lungs like a million insects eating his heart. His knees thumped and cracked the scorched earth. His voice was like a breathless beast roaring. Immortal Lord, the devil's final demonic body. Industrial nanosoul fusion. Black, the sacrifice of the leader of the European Union, failed to solve the problem. The roots of the sacred tree were withered by 20%, and the entire sect's spiritual power was sealed. Li Daniu's nascent soul's peak sword energy buzzed and disintegrated in the air. His face was sallow, cold sweat mixed with nosebleeds clattered on the ground, his knuckles cracked, and he was unstable when holding the sword, and his brain exploded when he heard the demon's roar. Master Demon Lina, the rice is invincible, the sword array is shattered into 3 layers, and the spiritual veins around the world are churning with black bubbles. Zhongxian Zhao's guard spirit gun clicked, and the branches withered. His spiritual light dimmed and his legs were paralyzed, and he was nauseated by the smell of rot. Sect Master, the live barrage turned black, the demonic body was reborn, and the nanometers counterattacked the world. Buzzing burning pain, his fat body twitched and grabbed the ground. Immortal Lord, the black core demon soul you master has melted. Our servant's spiritual roots are rotten again. The 5,000 golden elixir loose cultivator guards knelt down with blood eyes crazily. The slave seal exploded and became bloody. Jingling Immortal Lord, the Demon King is 100 million times rotten. The sacred tree is powerless. I regret my oath of allegiance. Elder Xiaoyi's nascent soul ancient robe hissed and burned most of it. His white hair sizzled and turned into ashes and flew away. His old eyes were cloudy and despairing, tears and blood intertwined, and the remaining hand stroking his beard shook like a candle in the wind. He said hoarsely and intermittently, "Sect Master. The nano-black core of the demonic body, the source of global pollution has returned. Burn. Your divine tree has soared in the 9th revolution, and its roots have broken off 3 veins." Shang Yanhua's divine sword was scurrying around. Her beautiful eyes were bloodshot with a cold light of despair. Black blood splattered from her shoulder injury, and the silver dragon sword energy was dimming. Junior sister, the devil's claws sweep across the divine tree, and the sword's heart seals the blood path again. Beep! The screen of Yi Chen's tablet beeped 3 times. The weak points of the 3D projection demonic body flashed out. His fingers were stiff and there was no response. His back was soaked with cold sweat and his nose was filled with rancidity. Immortal Lord, the 3 layers of the Xianka quantum array collapsed, and the nanoparticles melted. I guided it. The bullet is only sealed for a moment. Han Zhao's broken soul and poisonous spirit withered even more. His face was twisted and pale, tears and blood flowed, and his voice trembled and echoed with fear. Luo Li, the main soul core of the evil body of the European Union is useless. The sacred tree is destroyed, and the hidden door is dead. The silver light of the silver scale guardian mountain spirit beast hissed tore through the magic mist, encircled and attacked the magic scales click to shatter the armor. However, it was sizzling entangled in the nano-black silk. The silver roar turned to the ground and twitched with a howl of pain. The blood mist spurted out of the nose and the rotten smell entered the body and withered. The global live broadcast drones buzzed to follow the demonic body, and the barrage exploded with fear. Holy shit! The pure spirit immortal divine tree withered? The devil is finally invincible, and the black market leader wins. There is a rotten smell in the eyes and noses of billions of worldly people. The powerful ants cower in their mansions, and the wealthy second-generation nascent soul slaves plop on their knees and tremble. Luo Li's jade body is entrenched on the broken peak on the top floor of the building. Her jade face is as cold as 9 secluded black ice. The blue and white holy light in her robe is as dim as a broken candle. Her eyes suppress the abyss of the galaxy and flash with cold light. The thumping pulse of the pure spirit tree in her body reverses and intensifies, and the backlash of thousands of needles piercing the soul is like billions of fires burning the soul. Her mind is at peace, and she is playing a game of lightning in her mind. The devil finally suppresses the nano-black core. The EU sovereigns and nobles conspire. Global pollution is resurgent, and the roots of the sacred tree absorb the demonic spring and soar into the sky. The jade lips were slightly pursed, with a cold aura that despised the demonic body like dust, and the cold wind in her heart whispered. In the end, the ants, the black market dignitaries, the sacred tree dominates the world. The jade feet lightly stepped on the broken roof, and the buzzing demonic energy of the black abyss resonated 100 times. With a wave of her robe, the blue and white field expanded thousands of miles, and the jade voice echoed throughout the city like a thunderous oracle. The whole sect joins forces. The sacred tree ascends and destroys the demon king. Luo Li's jade eyes suddenly opened, and the blue and white divine light swept through the black clouds, sensing the Korean demon's escape. The corner of her cold lips curled up with an arc of contempt. Plutocrat Long Tan. I am the only one who dominates. The 9 palace sword formation reunited the Milky Way, and the mountain-guarding spirit beast's silver roar shocked the remnants of tanks. The sect's momentum soared into the sky, and the disciples roared in the night sky. The immortal Lord ascends. The pure spirit is eternal. However, the shadow of the fleet in the distant sky loomed, and the red light of the quantum radar was locked again, and the crisis was surging like an undercurrent. Yi Chen's fingers were flying like a flat panel and the golden snake was scurrying wildly. The Xianka nano array was buzzing to restart the fusion of the divine tree. 10 quantum missiles were hissing to lock onto the weak point of the magic eye. The particle golden light boom dash accurately bombarded the magic core with a click. Black blood exploded like oil and sprayed into the sky. His cold sweat evaporated and he trembled in ecstasy. Immortal Lord Divine Tree Nano Missile. The magic core cracks 3 layers, and the virus devours the main soul of the European Union forever. The missile's aftermath popped and caught the nano-black threads. The roots of the divine tree took advantage of the situation to grow wildly and devour the putrid, hissing golden spirit. The flower petals swirled and danced. The frenzy of floral fragrance overwhelmed the putrid odor 1,000 times, and the giant claws of the demonic body withered and broke 5 of them. Shang Yan's beautiful eyes and sword heart are absolutely clear, the sword intention of transforming into God's bombs. The silver dragon dances wildly, the shoulder injury is boiling and the spirit spring heals itself, and the 2 swords combined with Elder Shao buzz. The silver gold sword shines like 2 dragons out of the sea, the magic locking core hiss, cuts into the black scales click, and breaks into hundreds of pieces. The old eyes are ecstatic and white hair flies. Sect. Master Tian powerful. The old nascent soul sword technique, the god of fusion, cuts the core. Shangyan Yinjian worshipped ecstatically. Junior sister divine tree protects. The 2 swords destroy the core. The sword light penetrated the demon core and poof black pus spurted out. The demon roared and shattered the clouds. The nano-black core sizzled and half of it disintegrated, and the humane soul flashed and wailed. The cold light in Luo Li's jade eyes flashed to the extreme, the phantom of the divine tree rumbling, and the root veins turned 9 times, like 10,000 dragons penetrating the demon body cracking, and piercing the depths of the black core. The golden spirit petals rained down, the fragrance of flowers drowned out the rot like a tsunami, the demonic body withered and twitched the red and black scales peeled off into black mud, the poisonous mist turned into spiritual springs, crashing and spewed out all over the world, and the nano-pollution was sizzling purified. Her cultivation boom hit the peak of divine transformation, and the sea of fairy energy filled the air for hundreds of miles. The jade body and the holy light looked down with contempt. The ant demon king, the black market dignitary, will be wiped out. The branches of the sacred tree buzzed. Han Zhao's remaining soul and poisonous spirit finally withered and flew away, and the jackal's face disappeared forever. Everyone saw the demonic body disintegrating, and the sacred tree penetrated and purified the world. They were shocked and burst into ecstasy. The bald boss Nguyen's nascent soul body kowtowed and the ground cracked with a dong-dong. The immortal sacred tree destroys the demon. Witness the whole sect, and pledge allegiance to eternity. Li Daniu knelt down and shouted. Master command, the sword will destroy all enemies. Mr. Zhao's spirit gun shot into the sky. The master will cleanse the world, and the immortal guards will protect you forever. The 5,000 golden elixir guards knelt down and said enthusiastically, Jingling immortal lord, the spiritual roots are reborn, and the allegiance will rule the world. Old Shaoyi burst into tears and turned to joy, and the nascent soul spiritual power was injected into the sacred tree to stabilize the roots. The master of the sect has reached the peak of God transformation, and I swear to ascend with you. Sheng Yan's silver sword was returned to its sheath, her beautiful eyes filled with tears of admiration. Junior sister. The sacred tree is the only one, and the sword will follow it forever. Yi Chen's tablet was filled with golden light, and the nano-array permanently solidified the abyss. The fusion of the immortal master is perfect, and the global spiritual source is locked. The root veins of the sacred tree pop, penetrate the remaining black core of the world, and the bang golden light shoots into the sky for 9 days. The spiritual energy of the world is revived 1,000 times. The flowers in the abandoned buildings bloom and the spiritual fruits are fragrant like a fairyland. The nano-pollution is completely purified and becomes the source of spiritual energy. The buzzing spiritual roots of mortals' awakening potential are beginning to appear when they smell the fragrance of flowers. Passers-by on the street stare in ecstasy with their eyes wide open. Earth. Revival of spiritual energy. Miracle of the immortal pure spirit. The global live broadcast barrage kneeled down and exploded. The immortal lord destroys the demon king. The world of urban immortal cultivation is opened. Worship the leader. The spiritual veins of the worldly nobles' mansions awakened. The rich second-generation nascent soul slaves revealed the secrets of the Black Market Alliance. The U-Master's soul shadow was broadcast live globally, and the plutocrats collapsed like ants. Luo Liu stood on the broken peak, and the cold jade sound echoed around the world like the thunder of Tianxian. Jingling sect rules the urban immortal world. Join the Yin men, worship the secular people. and rise to immortality for eternity. More than 10,000 disciples knelt down and dong dong shook the mountains. The silver-scaled spiritual beast Silver Roar circled to protect the Dharma. The general altar regained its prestige and shook the hidden world. The scattered cultivators passed on talisman snowflakes to join the wave. The spiritual fruit treasures buzzed, fell from the trees to the disciples. The reputation and status were at the peak, and the spiritual source of the treasure house increased 10,000 times. Her jade eyes suddenly felt the bang of the heavenly calamity thundercloud condensed in the 9 heavens, the sizzling of purple lightning locking on the peak of divine transformation, and the cold wind in her mind whispered, "The heavenly calamity is coming. The sacred tree ascends to become an immortal?" Everyone in the sect looked up and saw the thunder cloud, and shouted in shock and ecstasy, "The immortal Lord has overcome the tribulation. The pure spirit ascends." The 9-day thundercloud rumbling is like an eternal demon dragon churning, the purple lightning sizzling tears through the night like billions of silver snakes dancing wildly. The calamity wind roars across the steel building complex of Longtan headquarters. The scorched earth of the ruins pops, peels off the iron filings and flies. The rotten demonic smell is still there, but it is crushed into rust by the thunder, and the global live broadcast drone buzzes. The tremors are approaching and the barrage is fearful of exploding. Can't even the 9th level of heavenly tribulation. The hidden sect's ascension dream is shattered. Tens of thousands of disciples' golden elixir spiritual roots buzzed, but their brains exploded, and their noses burned like lava, and their knees smashed into pieces, and their bloodshot eyes bulged in despair. The bald boss nascent soul's middle-level peak spiritual body crunched again. His bull's eyes were bulging and bloodshot. His nose was quivering as he inhaled the tribulation wind, and the smell of rust was like 10,000 knives scraping his lungs. His thick arms trembled and hit the ground with cracks spreading. Immortal Lord. 9th level heavenly tribulation. The global spiritual veins are resurrected to cause tribulation, and the purple electric nano-residual poison melts into the tribulation cloud. The roots of the sacred tree cannot be suppressed. Lidania's sword heart was buzzing as he transformed into a spirit. His sallow face was dripping with cold sweat and thunder ash. His knuckles were cracking and he was unstable when holding the sword. The thunder roar in his ears shattered his eardrums and blood oozed out. "Master, the thunder-locking spirit root has shattered the 4th layer of the sword array's hidden door, reviving the dream, surviving a narrow escape." Zhao Zongxian's guard spirit gun clicked and burned half of the branches. The spiritual light was dim and his legs were paralyzed. He smelled the iron and vomiting wind. Sect Master, live broadcast of the barrage. The remnants of the European Union laughed at the heavenly tribulation destroying immortal Lord. Han Tai's golden elixir Dzogchen slave seal buzzed and burned, and his body was withered. The thin man twitched and grabbed the ground. His fingernails were broken and blood and mud spattered. Immortal Lord, the pollution of the calamity cloud has reappeared, and the remnants of the black market are secretly rejoicing. The 5,000 golden elixir loose cultivator guards knelt down with bloody eyes. Their slave seals exploded and their flesh and blood were blurred, and their miserable howls echoed like thousands of ghosts crying together. Immortal Lord Pure Spirit, there is no solution to the heavenly calamity, and the sacred tree is on the verge of withering. Elder Shaoyi's nascent soul ancient robe hissed and burned out. His white hair sizzled and turned into ashes and flew away. His old eyes were cloudy and despairing, tears and blood intertwined. His remaining hand shaking like a candle in the wind, hoarse and intermittent. Sect Master, 9-level tribulation cloud nanopoison fusion, global spiritual source reverse devour. The old man's ascension technique cuts off the 7 meridians. Sheng Yanhua's divine sword was moving wildly. Her beautiful eyes were bloodshot with a cold light of despair. The silver dragon sword energy buzzed dimly, and the black blood from the shoulder wound stabbed and splashed into the calamity wind. Her voice trembled like a broken string. Junior sister, the heavenly tribulation purple lightning locked divine tree, the blood path of the sword heart is completely cut off. Yi Chen's tablet beeped for 4 times. The weak point of the 3D projection cloud flashed out. His fingers were stiff and there was no response. His back was soaked with cold sweat and his nose was filled with iron, and he felt like vomiting. Immortal Lord, the 4th level of the Shenka quantum array collapsed. Nanocatastrophe thunder invincible. My missiles can't seal the moment. The silver light of the silver-scaled mountain guardian spirit beast hissed. circled and attacked the calamity cloud, but was sizzling by the purple lightning, and the silver roar turned to the ground and twitched, blood mist spurted out, and rust entered the body's withered edge. Billions of mortals around the world have false thunderous smells in their noses, the rich and powerful are cowering in their mansions, the second-generation nascent soul slaves of the rich plop on their knees and tremble, barrages of ridicule are pouring out. The immortal Lord has gone too far in showing off, and the heavenly catastrophe will crush the hidden door and turn it into ashes. Luo Li's jade body is entrenched on the broken peak on the top floor of the building. Her jade face is as cold as 9 mysterious ices. Her robe has a blue and white holy light that dimmers like a broken candle. Her eyes suppress the abyss of the galaxy and flash with cold light. The beating pulsation of the pure spirit divine tree in her body reverses and intensifies, and the backlash of thousands of needles piercing the soul is like a billion fires burning the soul. Her mind is at peace and she is playing a lightning game in her mind. The resurgence of nanopollution from the 9 heavenly tribulation, the remnant souls of the European Union secretly rejoicing, the global spiritual source being devoured, and the roots of the sacred tree absorbing the calamity and transforming the spring into 9 turns to ascend. The jade lips were slightly pursed, with a cold and elegant aura that looked down upon the calamity clouds like dust, and the cold wind in her heart whispered, "In the end, the ants, the remnants of the black market dignitaries, the sacred tree alone will overcome the calamity and dominate the world." The jade feet lightly stepped on the broken roof, and the black abyss hummed tribulation energy resonated 100 times. With a wave of her robe, the blue and white realm suddenly expanded thousands of miles, and the jade voice echoed for 9 days like a thunderous oracle. The whole sect joins forces. The sacred tree ascends and overcomes the tribulation. Everyone heard the sound of despair, and more than 10,000 disciples' golden elixirs gathered together to gather their spiritual power. The galaxy reunited with a bang. The bald boss's bullseyes were red and wet with ecstasy. His spirit body buzzed and reunited at the peak of the nascent soul. The scent of flowers in his nose overcame the iron smell. He roared to the commander. "The holy order of the immortal Lord." 10,000 swords cut off the tribulation electricity. Lidania's sword heart transformed into a god. The intermediate level exploded, and the nosebleed stopped and the golden spirit surged. "Master, overcome the tribulation. Fight." The sword array galaxy locked tribulation core. Bang bang blasted the calamity wire accurately. The domain of the leader, the powerful calamity flew away. Han Tai's body's spiritual energy surged and the golden light dazzled. Slave sacrifice. Kill the calamity cloud. The 5,000 golden elixir guard slave seals rekindled their spiritual roots and puff, the poisonous sword flew across the sky. The immortal master joins forces. The calamity is destroyed. Yi Chen's fingers were flying like electric plates, and the golden snake was running wildly. The Xianka nanoarray was buzzing, restarting the fusion sacred tree. 20 quantum missiles were hissing, locking on the Jieyun's weak points. The particle golden light was booming, accurately bombarding the Jieyun core. The black electricity was exploding like oil into the sky. His cold sweat evaporated and he trembled in ecstasy. Immortal Lord Divine Tree Nano Missile. The calamity core splits 5 layers, and the virus devours the remaining soul of the European Union forever. The aftermath of the missile popped and caught the nano-calamity thread. The roots of the divine tree took advantage of the situation to grow wildly and devour the irony hissing. The golden spirit petals danced, the floral fragrance frenzy overwhelmed the calamity stink 10,000 times, and the calamity cloud giant electricity clicked, withered and broke 7 times. Shang Yan's beautiful eyes and sword heart are absolutely clear. Her sword intent at the peak of her divine transformation bangs. The silver dragon dances wildly. Her shoulder injury boils and her blood boils and she heals herself in the spirit spring. She joins Elder Xiaoyi's 2 swords and buzzes. The silver gold swords shine like 2 dragons out of the sea. The locking calamity core, hiss, cuts into the purple electricity and clicks, and shatters into thousands of pieces. Her old eyes are ecstatic and her white hair is flying. Sect Master Tianwei, Old Man the decaying soul sword technique, reaches the peak of the god of fusion, slaying the calamity core. Shang Yan's silver sword worshipped ecstatically. Junior sister, protected by the divine tree, destroys the core with 2 swords. The sword light penetrated the Calamity core and poof, black electricity spurted. The Calamity roar boom, shattered the clouds. The Nano Calamity core sizzled and disintegrated 80%. And the EU's remnant soul flashed and twisted and wailed and flew to the world. The first level of tribulation thunder bang, poured out like thousands of mountains collapsing. Purple lightning was as thick as a river and struck straight at Luo Li's jade body. The phantom of the sacred tree buzzed, and the roots surged into the golden spirit barrier. The rain of flower petals popped to dissolve the electric light. The immortal Lord is not injured. The divine tree cleanses the tribulation, the magical skill. The second level of calamity wind whistled like a mountain of billion-edged knives, and the residual poison of nanometers cut the edge of the field. The branches of the divine tree popped through the wind core, and the tsunami of flowers screamed, and her cultivation level stabilized the peak of the god. Second level, dusty sleeves. The bald boss knelt down with wet eyes. Submit to the heavenly calamity. The third to fifth levels of calamity fire rumbling, the lava sea churned. The red flame nanometers burned the steel building and sizzled into molten iron. The nose was burning and smelled like thousands of corpses burning. Shang Yan's silver sword danced wildly and the protector hissed the flame thread. Her beautiful eyes flashed with tears of admiration. Junior sister's sword follows. The sacred tree burns and the calamity fire turns into a spiritual spring. Yi Chen's nano array glows with golden light, and the missile explodes with bang bang core. His fingers trembled in ecstasy. The immortal branch is eternal. The calamity fire purifies the global warm current. Luo Li waved his robe, and the roots of the sacred tree turned 9 times. Boom! Absorbing flames and turning into golden fire. The spiritual rain fell, and the spiritual roots of thousands of disciples buzzed and skyrocketed to the peak of the golden elixir. Everyone sniffed the warm fragrance and awakened to the edge of soaring. They kowtowed in ecstasy and the ground cracked with dong dong. Baptism of spiritual rain. The entire sect ascended. From the 6th to the 8th level, the black pressure of the calamity cloud gulu poisonous bubbles surged, and the residual poison of the European Union rekindled like a magic mist. Shaoi combined his swords and shouted, "Sect Master, this old man cut off his veins and offers his sword. The calamity cloud will be shattered." The silver-scaled spirit beast's silver roar was reborn and circled to tear into the clouds. Li Daniu's sword arrayed at the core of the galaxy lock cloud, and 5,000 guards' poisonous swords all slashed at the black bubbles. Blood and electricity flew across the sky. Luo Liu stood motionless. The divine tree's fairy light buzzed and expanded for 9 days. Its roots penetrated the calamity cloud and purified it for thousands of miles. The fragrance of flowers rushed into the sky and suppressed the poisonous stink 100 million times. The calamity cloud withered and twitched with the black electric scales peeled off into spiritual mud with a crash. Her fairy energy filled the sea of clouds for thousands of miles, and the sound of jade thundered. The 8th level, the nightmare of the powerful, flies away. The 9th level of ultimate calamity boom. The purple gold thunder pillar penetrated the 9 heavens, locking Luo Li's soul. The global spiritual veins buzzed and resonated and trembled. The barrage turned desperate and shocking. The ultimate calamity. Will the immortal Lord be destroyed? Everyone's noses were filled with thunder, and their knees hit the ground bloody, and they whispered desperately, "The sacred tree is broken. Roots." Luo Li's jade eyes flashed across the galaxy. The divine tree rumbling ascended and turned into a giant tree of immortal light. The root veins turned 9 times and penetrated the thunder pillars as easy to purify the nanopoison. The sea of golden spirit flowers poured down. The fragrance of flowers filled the world like a fairy world. The thunder pillar clicked, disintegrated into a golden spirit rain clattering to baptize the earth. With her cultivation level boom, she broke through the divine form and reached the immortal realm. The immortal saint's holy light soared into the sky. Her jade body hung in the air and looked down at thousands of miles away. She was the only one in the sky and the earth with her cold and stunning aura. 9 levels of heavenly tribulation destroyed. Pure spirit immortal Lord. Dominate the world. Everyone saw the ashes of the catastrophe, and the sacred tree turned into immortal light to protect the body and purify the world. They were shocked and burst into ecstasy. The bald boss bull-eyed maniacally raised his nascent soul peak spirit body and kowtowed. Dong dong, the ground cracked. The immortal master has overcome the tribulation. Witness the whole sect. The sacred tree will be forever respected. Lidania's sword heart transformed into the peak of the gods. Kneeling and shouting. Master, the immortal lord, the sword cuts off the 9 heavens. Mr. Zhao's spirit gun shot into the sky. The immortal lord will rob the whole world, and the immortal guard will protect you forever. Han Tai kowtowed with a fat body. Slaves grace worshiped the immortal lord. 5,000 golden elixir guards knelt down and were enthusiastic. Their spiritual roots soared to the edge of the nascent soul. Pure spirit, immortal lord. The spirit reign is reborn. And I am loyal to Tongjiyushin. Xiao Yi's eyes were full of tears as he poured all his nascent soul's spiritual energy into the immortal tree. Sect master. Immortal lord. I have finished passing on the secrets. Sheng Yan's silver sword was returned to its sheath, her eyes full of admiration and tears. Transforming the momentum of the sword, immortal lord. Junior sister. Immortal lord, the divine tree is the only one. The sword immortal is eternal. Yichun flattened the immortal light forever, and the nanoarray merged with the immortal tree to obtain an immortal body. His fingers trembled with ecstasy. Immortal lord, the immortal family is immortal. The global spiritual source is locked, and the path to immortality with science and technology is open. Luo Liu stands on the top of the giant tree of fairy light, recalling the glory of the Jingling sect in a chilling way. The dangerous inheritance of the ancestral master hall, the integration of the Jingling pearl to awaken the Jingling body, the upgrade of the artifact to purify pollution, the defeat of the black market dignitary Han Xiao, and the revitalization of the sect to dominate the urban immortal world. The sound of jade reverberated around the world like the thunder of Tianxian. The glory of Jingling sect has reappeared. The hidden sect has joined secular worship. A new era has begun, cultivating immortals and ascending to eternity. More than 10,000 disciples knelt down and dong dong. The mountains shook, and the silver scales, the silver roar of spirit beasts circled to protect the Dharma. The immortal light of the general altar soared into the sky and shook the hidden world. The scattered cultivators passed on talismans and snowflakes joined the wave. The spiritual fruit and fairy treasures buzzed from the trees and fell to the disciples. The reputation and status were at the peak, and the spiritual source of the treasure house increased hundreds of millions of times. Mortals around the world awakened their spiritual roots and buzzed, and knelt down in the streets. The fragrance of flowers filled the city and turned it into a fairyland. The powerful ants revealed the remaining secrets of the black market. Billions of people worshipped live on the live broadcast. Jingling immortal lord. In the new era, worship the leader. When everyone heard the sound, despair flared up. More than 10,000 disciples' golden elixirs gathered together to build up their spiritual power. The galaxy reunited with a bang. The bald boss bull's eyes were red and wet with ecstasy. Fight! The sword array galaxy locked demonic core. The branches of Zhao's spirit gun were reborn and the nanowires were blasted accurately. The powerful demons are flying. Han Tai's body's spiritual energy surged and the golden light was dazzling. Slave sacrifice. Kill the black core. The 5,000 golden elixir guard slave seals rekindled their spiritual roots and puff. The poisonous sword flew out. The immortal master joins forces. Demon King is destroyed. Luo Li's jade eyes suddenly felt the faint buzz of the summons of the higher immortal world. The shadow of the immortal gate flashed above the 9 heavens, and the cold wind in her heart whispered. The immortal has ascended. The pure spirit will last forever. A higher storm is coming? She looks down at the city with cold eyes, her blue and white robes billow. All living beings kowtow in ecstasy. The scent of flowers and spiritual rain wash over her forever. The roots of the pure spirit tree run through the world. The legend of the immortal Lord opens an endless new chapter.